It is time, folks. It is time for WrestleMania 31 right here on WrestleRant Radio. We are only 5 days away, and RJ and I could not be any more pumped. Brock Lesnar, breaking news here, folks, is staying with the WWE. It's a huge night here tonight on WrestleRant Radio. A 2-hour spectacular only on EC Radio. We got RJ here, myself. We've got Mike on the line returning it with us. How's it going tonight, Mike?
What's going on, fellas?
Nothing much. We've also got Arden on the line. How's it going tonight, Arden?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I can't complain.
Sounds good. The WrestleMania Roundtable is back for full predictions for Sunday's WrestleMania 31 event, live on the WWE Network. It's going to be a great show. Very much looking forward to it. But we might as well dissect the news right now. Breaking news as of only an hour ago. RJ, you watched the interview yourself. Brock Lesnar is sticking with the WWE, so go right for it. But actually, even before we get into that, Mike, I want to discuss this real quick. Just want to give you a real quick shout-out before I forget by the end of the show, because I know I'm going to forget all about it. You've got your own blog, buddy, and I would love to hear all about it. Just give us a quick link, what you guys write about, just to get it out of the way real quick before I forget later by any chance.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So me and my buddies, a couple weeks ago, I actually haven't even written for it yet, so I'm about to. My first blog is going to go up tonight. And it's called, the website's actually, there's no www, it's hitting a baseball, Jimdo, JIMDO.com, and the Twitter handle is @THK Sports. And basically it's just me and a handful of my buddies, and we're, write about sports. We got a guy who writes about basketball, and, a guy who writes about baseball, another one who writes about entertainment, and, I'm basically the resident WWE/UFC guys. So I'm getting my first blog out tonight, which I'm excited about, and we'll see how it goes. Just a couple of friends, having fun.
Sounds good, brother. And like you said before, your first blog post will be on Brock Lesnar sticking with the WWE. So like I was saying before, RJ, you heard the news. You just played the interview for me. Brock Lesnar is great. That's all I'm going to say. This guy is an all-star. So RJ, at first I want to get your thoughts on the signing, because I would have never seen this coming. I think we've already established that. And what the interview was like when the news broke.
So I was sitting in my room just looking on my phone on Twitter, and it said ESPN said 10 minutes, Brock Lesnar's going to be live on ESPN for an interview. So I was like, I'll put it on ESPN, didn't think anything of it. So Michelle Beadle introduces Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion. Then she just goes, and he has breaking news to tell you. And I was like, what the? And then he's just saying he has the fighter in him wants to fight, but the father in him says he has to step away, so that he's staying with the WWE, and signed last night, and saying that he knows that his path of fighting was over and that he wants to have fun now and wrestle now. And he said he loves how he's a part-timer making full pay.
That was a great line.
It was so funny.
Line of the night.
Line of the night. And then he just said he's just going to have fun and make money. And it was a pretty good interview, and said that how people say he hates the business. He said he loves the business, just hates the bullshit on the side. And that he can't wait to be back and bring home that damn belt on Sunday, he said.
And a multi-year deal as well, right?
A multi-year deal.
So that makes this Sunday's event, if you couldn't already tell, that much more unpredictable between Brock Lesnar, the champion, and the challenger Roman Reigns. That's going to be a heck of a match, a heck of a night, a heck of a show on Sunday night at WrestleMania 31. We'll get to that prediction in just a little bit, but let's go around the horn here. Michael, start with you, or after RJ, of course. What were your thoughts on Brock Lesnar shockingly re-signing with the WWE for a few more years?
Well, honestly, I didn't even hear about it until you actually texted it to me. Actually, just got a new phone the other day, and it sucks. It's a piece of shit, and I don't have any apps on it, so I got to actually check that out. But haven't been on Twitter yet. Haven't just walked in the door a little while ago, so I haven't seen anything on it. So just off the top of my head, honestly, it's just like you said. It makes Sunday a lot more unpredictable. Especially, and we'll get into it more, I'm sure, but especially after last night, I don't think that the LA crowd was feeling Reigns too much. And if that's a preview of what's going to happen on Sunday, I think that Vince and Triple H and company, they need to maybe take a second look at what's going to happen on Sunday. It definitely makes things interesting. And like I said, we'll get into more in depth, I'm sure, in a little while, but. Definitely makes things interesting.
Not only does it amp up the interest and excitement for the main event match on Sunday, but think of all the possibilities, because not only did he sign on for another year, but a couple more years, like RJ just said. it opens up the doors for many of possibilities. We were talking about this before we went on the air. Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton, The Rock potentially next year. We'll talk about that a little bit later. That's been something that's been rumored. So there's a lot of different matchups that we can get with old Brock, the next big thing, or the current big thing, the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion going forward. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And he said he's done with MMA, by the way, too. It's not like he's going to finish up here, go there. He said he's done. So that very much shocked me. But Arden, I'm going to get your thoughts. What was going through your head when you heard the news that Brock Lesnar was sticking with the WWE?
It was, to be quite honest with you, when I first heard the news, I heard it right after I saw RJ tweet you that Brock was going to resign. So I immediately searched on Twitter, Brock Lesnar. But in terms of how I felt, a complete shock and a lot of happiness. It's a big time move for the company, and it was definitely one that made me excited because, like you guys mentioned, it's something I think a lot of wrestling fans thought at the first moment, which is it makes Sunday a whole lot better because now you really don't know what could happen on Sunday. And even leading up to this re-signing, a lot of reports were basically saying that even though Reigns-Lesnar was always the plan at Mania, they just didn't know the finish. Why? Because of Brock Lesnar. So with him re-signing, it's huge. And I think it was you, Graham, you brought up the possibilities of certain guys he could face next year. All I would say is this. One of those guys you've mentioned not only could be at Mania, but it's very likely going to be Brock's opponent next year. And it's a match that Vince wants. He wants it, and you already know Brock's going to be fine with it. So it makes not only this year's Mania much better, but next year's Mania a lot better too. So it's just really excited about the re-signing, and of course now I'm even looking forward to WrestleMania even more.
Absolutely, and like you said, as we've talked about here on the show before, WrestleMania 32 is shaping up to be that much bigger, as it's going to be in the AT&T Center in Arlington, Texas, right? Not Dallas. The Arlington, Texas area. It's going to be huge. They want to build up that show as much as possible. Like we've speculated before, maybe Undertaker Sting, Rock match, and a match they were going to do a couple years ago, too. That was originally supposed to happen at WrestleMania 30. So after the whole Rock thing and he got injured, blah, 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 plans changed. So there's a very realistic possibility that we see that next year. And like you said, Arden, we could very well see Rocky on Sunday. So there's a lot of questions with not enough answers going into WrestleMania. But speaking of WrestleMania 31, the lights are on bright, baby. WrestleMania 31 on Sunday. It's going to be a great show. We'll kick it off right now. We got 2 hours, but we're going to run through these. We're going to go very in-depth with our picks here. Not just who we think who's going to win, but why and how and whatever else. Starting off with the kickoff show for the WWE Tag Team titles. Cesaro and Kid defending against the Usos, Los Matadores, and the New Day. Pretty much a repeat of what we saw last year on the kickoff show. But RJ, I'll start with you. What is your prediction for the tag team title match on Sunday?
I think this is going to be a prediction that most people will not like, but I think there will be new tag team champions on Sunday, and I think it's going to be the Los Matadores. And I think they've been...
God.
It sounds bad. I know, people. I know it sounds bad, but they've been building these guys up. They've been winning weekly.
That's a bold prediction.
It's
right
a bold
there,
prediction. They've been winning weekly. They beat Tyson and Cesaro in a non-title match a couple weeks ago. I couldn't tell you the last time they lost. They beat up the New Day a couple weeks ago. Usos, I'm pretty sure one of them is hurt, right? So I think
Jey Uso is
hurt, so I doubt they will win. I don't know. I think that they're trying to push Los Matadores. I hope it's not true, but I have a gut feeling that we're gonna get new tag team champions at WrestleMania.
So that said, we'll also kind of give two sides this year: who you think will win, who do you want to win?
Oh, I want Kid and Cesaro.
Of course, and that goes without saying. Yeah. Any expectations for the match?
I think it'll be just like last year's. Is it even an elimination this year or no?
That was not announced yet. They could announce it on the pre-show itself, though. I wouldn't be surprised. They have to.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 teams. I wouldn't... If it comes down to Cesaro, Kid, and the Usos, I'd be very happy with that. Yeah. But it's involving the Matadors.
Once it was New Day and...
Why? I mean, I don't want to go on a huge tangent on this like we've talked about in the past, but why aren't Ascension in there, primetime players? They're in the Battle Royal instead, and they're not singles acts, whereas the New Day and Matadors are. It doesn't make any sense, but the match itself, though, like we've talked about, should be very good. I'm not really enthralled with the outcome if it is the Matadors, but the match itself could be really, really good. So, Arden, I'll start with you, too. What was your prediction, or what is your prediction for the tag team title match on Sunday, and who else would you like to see win?
When it comes to this match, it's one I'm going to go in with some low expectation. I'm going to be honest with you. But in terms of who I want to win, I'm just going to stick with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I mean, when you look at everybody else, I think the Usos, you got to give them a break for the title. And the New Day, they completely failed with the New Day. I remember watching the promo for the first time and actually getting somewhat excited about it. Nope, I was wrong. And Los Matadors as tag team champions, that will even bring down the title more, and it's already close to useless. So for me, man, just give it to Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. Let them retain. They earn it, and then just build from there. It's really sad, man, what the tag team titles have become. You know, I remember my first WrestleMania 17. I saw one of the best tag team matches ever with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys and the Hardy Boys. The best tag team match, not to mention, to me, the best WrestleMania ever. It's still my favorite. To now this. It's pathetic, but I'm going with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro.
I'm hoping they win. They've been doing a really good job as tag team champions the last couple of months since they won the belts. And the only issue is that they've been, I don't want to say they were ruined, because, you know, some people said they were ruined last night when they lost to the Matadors. I don't want to say they were ruined, but I feel like there was a lot of potential there when they won the straps. A lot of people were excited for the future of the division. And with all the tag teams that we're currently getting, like I said, I'm not currently enthralled with the Matadors or New Day, but you have the Ascension, Primetime Players, maybe the Lucha Dragons. I don't think Amore and Cassidy are being called up anytime soon, but there's a lot of tag teams right there in the division that they can build off of coming out of WrestleMania. But the match itself, though, like I said, should be really good. That's the only saving grace. Other than that, it's not a match that most people are going to care about, especially considering the lack of creativity with it. We saw almost the exact same match last year.
Besides the Real Americans and the
and Cesaro was in the part of the Real Americans, though.
Who else was in it last year?
Ryback.
Oh.
Another team that I probably care more about than the New Day. So the match itself, like I said, that's the only saving grace. It's the in-ring action. But yeah, the New Day gimmick, as you just said, Arden, has been a complete flop. And how they haven't switched the gears with them, haven't turned them heel already, is beyond me. And I was watching WrestleMania 28 the other day, and it just dawned on me that Brodus Clay, when he was doing the Funkasaurus thing, it was so over the top, it was so goofy that you're thinking to yourself, okay, they're going to turn him heel at any point in the near future, and they never did for like another 2 years. So I'm feeling like that's what we're going to get with New Day. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like that's what we're going to get, unfortunately. But those guys deserve so much better, and I think that goes without saying. But Mike, what is your prediction for the tag team title match on Sunday?
Oh man, what's with all the New Day? Hey, no, I'm just kidding. I'm with you guys. I hate the New Day. You know, just by process of elimination. Hate Los Matadores. I'll disagree with RJ a little bit. I think that they're winning so much just to make them look like a threat. You know, the same way I think, you know, Dolph Ziggler won his past two matches just to make it look like, you know, make him look stronger. But I don't want to see another Uso. I like the Usos, don't mind them, but I don't want to see another Uso title run, especially not yet. And, you know, I do like the, I think that I want to see more of Kidd and Cesaro. I feel like they haven't had that match, you know, where it, you know, that 4.5, 5-star match where you're just like, wow, holy shit, that was awesome. But you know, I definitely want to see them hold the titles for a little bit longer. And I do think that they win on the kickoff show. I think, you know, if they give them enough time, you know, give them 15, 20 minutes, you know, it'd be 2 hours. You have a 2-hour kickoff show, pre-show. So I feel, you know, I feel like there's no excuse not to give them at least 15 minutes. See what they can do. You know, I'd like to see Kidd and Cesaro walk away with the title at least for, you know, another month or so.
And you make a great point. In the month that they've been tag team champions, they have yet to have that all-star breakout match. And we thought we were going to get a Fastlane. We thought we were going to get on Raw in their matches with the Usos. We never did, unfortunately. Could this be that match? I guess we'll find out on Sunday. I think it has the potential to be. I think the match itself could be very, very good despite our lack of interest in the New Day, in the Matadores. The Usos are good, but like you said, it's far too early for them to be getting back those belts. So,
yeah, and plus I think it takes away a little bit from it. I'm not sure if you guys do. Is it an elimination match or no?
As of right now, no. Not that from what I've heard, no.
Yeah, because I feel like, you know, I mean, I don't even know the difference between Jimmy and Jay, but one of them's hurt. I was just reading today that, you know, they're going to censor so many people in the match that they're going to kind of hide him. But I feel like if you have Kid and Cesaro 100% and the Usos at 100%, and if it was an elimination, if you give them 10 minutes as the last two teams, they could tear the house down, I think. But
absolutely,
we'll just wait and see, like you said.
All right, I'm jumping in. I'm picking Kid and Cesaro.
Kid and
I can't be the
Cesaro
only one
for
not
RJ.
picking them, so I'm gonna jump back in.
I think I gotta go with Kid and Cesaro too. I think it's far too early to be taking the titles off of them. I do have that fear that Matadors might win.
Yeah, I do. It's not like I don't like. I love Kid and Cesaro. I'm just like, they're just trying to mess up this WrestleMania, and they'll have the stupid Matadors win.
And it's not like, oh, it doesn't make sense. This is the same company that has made stupid decision after stupid decision, so I put nothing past them at this point. But like you just said, Mike, I think that's a great point in that the wins that these guys have been constantly getting, for the Matadors anyway, they've been built up as such a threat. And I don't know why, because you already have the Ascension. As boring as they may be, they beat the former tag team champions, New Age Outlaws. They beat Golden Stardust, all these different tag teams. They lose one random match on Raw to the Primetime Players, who also deserve to be in there. Otherwise, why did you even bother reuniting them in the first place? It makes no sense. And then you bring in these guys and no one cares about New Day and Matadors. It doesn't matter. It's not a huge thing. It's on the pre-show anyway, so it doesn't make a huge difference. But
question: does it belong on the real card? You think? Or
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Of all the matches on the WrestleMania card, this is the one that should be bumped. So I don't blame them. The only thing is that I don't like the fact that Cesaro is getting shafted for the second straight year, because originally he wasn't supposed to be on the WrestleMania card. He entered himself into the Battle Royal. So, and the Usos too, I feel like they deserve to be in the main card after being on the pre-show last year too. But the match itself, the build has not been very good. The interspecies tag team match, whatever the hell it was.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, that was a complete waste.
They're pretty much saying the Divas are the same as Torito.
Pretty much, with Torito beating Natalya, former Divas champion. So that was pretty much a joke. But I think we can all agree, 4-4-4-4-4. All of us agree that Kid and Cesaro coming out of WrestleMania as still your WWE Tag Team Champions. So up next, the Divas action, as RJ just mentioned, the Divas Tag Team match at WrestleMania. AJ and Paige putting their differences aside to go up against the Bella Twins, Brie, and the Divas champion, Nikki. I, for one, am looking forward to this match. I feel like it's the first women's match in a long, long time at WrestleMania that actually, one, makes sense and features people that we care about. The Bella Twins, I know not everyone is their biggest fan. I'm certainly not, but I feel like both of them have been doing, and RJ knows, I feel like both of them have been doing some of the best work of their career in the last year alone from an in-ring standpoint and from a character standpoint. No matter how bad that feud was last year, in the last couple of months, Nikki has been really upping her game, so I look forward to the match. But Mike, I'll start with you. What is your prediction for this contest?
My prediction, I'm in the middle of writing my WrestleMania prediction blog, and I said basically, who the hell cares about this match? But actually, I wouldn't even be surprised, if one match goes over and they don't. Actually, I remember a couple of WrestleManias ago that there was like a 8-person tag match where they weren't able to go on.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they've actually done a halfway decent job of building this story. So I don't think it's not like a random match in the middle of the card. They've actually built the story, and I would be surprised if they didn't go on. So I'm assuming they will. I want Paige and AJ just because they're two hotties, but not to say that the Bellas aren't. But and I would like. I do think that the Bellas are gonna win. That's just just a hunch. Honestly, it can go either way, to be honest with you. I think also that last night I was actually I don't know if we'll talk about it later, but I was actually impressed with the Paige versus Nikki match. They gave them a good amount of time. I even think there was a commercial break in there. Mm-hmm. So they got at least 10 minutes or so. But I thought they did a halfway decent job. So if they give them time, it has potential. But I want Paige and AJ. I think it'll be the Bellas by some type of dirty shenanigans.
And that's exactly it, because they've given this match a story. Because if you really think about it, it goes back to the night after WrestleMania last year when Paige debuted, beat AJ for the belt, and everything else that's gone on between these four women over the last year or so. So it has a build behind it, which I'm very happy about. But Mike, like you just said, they need to give this match time. Is it going to steal the show? Absolutely, probably not. But I feel like with all the momentum that the Divas have been getting with the whole hashtag Give Divas a Chance thing, they really need to let them, be showcased on the grand stage of WrestleMania. Give them some time, have that good match, and they can have a good match. Both AJ and Paige are great workers. Nikki has really come a long way, as has Brie. I feel like the match itself could be really, really good. They'll probably place it as a buffer. I would not be surprised. But I am happy, though, that for the first time since like WrestleMania 22, it's not some multi-diva match where a match that nobody cares about and stuff like that. So I'm glad we're getting a match this year that actually makes sense. But RJ, I'll throw it to you next. What is your prediction for the Divas match at WrestleMania?
I think I'm going to go with the same thing Mike said. I want AJ and Paige to win, but I think the Bellas are going to win. I did enjoy the match last night. I thought the finish was absolute shit. So stupid. AJ just elbows Paige in the face, and she gets the bull hammer by Nikki Bella, and then pins her. But I think it has a good story. It's like you said, better than like last year, like a battle royal that had half the people.
You were there.
9/10 of the people in the match didn't even belong in it, so that's good. And like you said, then 29 their match got cut, so they didn't even get the rest of that year. But I think it's going to be a good match. I think both the Bellas have improved over the year. I feel like they kind of give the spotlight to Nikki. I feel like Brie's matches kind of suck usually. They usually don't give her time though, so that doesn't really help.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But the thing is, like, they can't just give them like 15 minutes on Raw and then like 8 minutes on WrestleMania.
Exactly. It's 4 hours long. But I
It's
know a
4
lot of that
hours
goes
long.
to the
But last
entrances,
year,
whatever.
like half the no one, like some people didn't even get entrances.
Yeah, for the Battle Royal, the other one was already in the ring.
Because I know, like 4 or 5 of the matches went 20 minutes long. Like, should have Bray Wyatt and Cena got 20 minutes?
Yeah, and the opening segment went a little long too. That's why.
I say Bella Twins.
The Bella Twins I could very well see going over. So we got Bella Twins. Arden, who's your prediction?
Of course, it'll be easy to say AJ and Paige, but truth be told, it's going to be count me into the Bella Twins too. It just makes more sense to have them win, and I guess you could say in a dirty finish somewhat. And speaking of the Divas, by the way, I was actually at the house show a few weeks ago in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, so I saw AJ Lee and the Bella Twins, and they did put on a good match. It was probably the first Divas match I've watched in a very long time where I actually paid attention and not turned away. But I think just focusing back on this match, I think, you might as well have the Bella Twins win, move on, and also try to maybe establish, again, that rivalry or that tension between AJ and Paige. So write me down for the Bella Twins.
Hey, quick question. Speaking about Brooklyn, is everybody here going to SummerSlam or what?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I'll be in the building.
I'll be in the building. I'll be in the building.
I'm there as well. Mike, have you gotten tickets yet?
I have not gotten tickets. I'm probably going to probably play like triple the amount you guys did, but I can guarantee I will be there some way, somehow. I will be there.
We'll smuggle you,
Let me
dude.
tell you something. Use StubHub. It works every time.
Oh,
Wait
yeah.
for the prices to go down a bit
StubHub or
and take
StubHub
advantage.
or Ticket Liquidator, they're both pretty good sites. I hate the whole, like, they have these
What,
fees
Ticketmaster?
where you pay like $10 or whatever. It sucks.
Yeah. The ticket prices were insane.
Yeah.
I know, because RJ paid the same amount that I did, well over $100. And I mean, it's worth it. It's SummerSlam, but I mean, it's pretty crazy though. But it's going to be a hell of a show. Brock Lesnar will be there. I mean, he's already re-signed, so it's well worth the price of admission. But I'm going against the
one more quick thing.
Oh, go ahead.
You mentioned before either RJ or Grant, you guys talked about Nikki's, bullhammer, basically.
Yeah, I said the bullhammer.
It was RJ.
It's also the bullhammer and Big Show's KO punch. Those moves drive me insane because they literally can throw them 98% of the time in the match, and they just stay there towards the end or whatever. But
Yeah.
those two moves drive me nuts, and I just had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, I mean, with Nikki, it's not an issue because she doesn't use it as much. She uses the rack attack most of the time, which is a great finisher for a diva, especially. The KO punch with the KO punch with Big Show. I hate Big Show. I mean, I'm not gonna exempt it, but I feel like I can make a case for it because it's a huge dude. But I can see what you're saying. Like, it's just a punch. So like, why should it be any different than anything else he throws in the match? So I agree
he
with
throws
that.
other punches in the match. So
Exactly.
if he's throwing a
Exactly.
KO punch to your face, I think I'd rather get hit in the face than the gut.
Exactly.
He always hits people in the stomach and like they're fine.
The bullhammer, I can definitely see why that's a ridiculous move. I like the Winds of Change, or the Wasteland or whatever it was. I could see that having more of an effect.
I'm a big fan of that too.
People poop all over the attitude adjustment, but it's not that bad. It's the equivalent of that.
The bullhammer. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's not good, especially because he's not doing the brawler gimmick
He
anymore.
has an elbow pad on it. How
Exactly,
hard can it hurt?
exactly. I think he tries to take it off, but I don't know. It's weird, but I'm going to have to go against the grain here. Divas match, I'm taking AJ and Paige, baby. Not only do I want them to win, I think they have to win here. The Bella Twins have been on this fiery run. Nikki retaining her title. She won the title at Survivor Series, retained a TLC. The Bella Twins won the Royal Rumble. She retained at Fastlane, so that's 4 pay-per-views in a row. And she won a Hell in a Cell, too.
Yeah, but okay, she can set it up as they win tomorrow night, and then, like, AJ and Paige will have their own little feud, and then she'll come out, I'm beating everyone, who's going to come beat me? And then Charlotte or Sasha Banks comes out. And then...
Okay, I could see that happening. I could very well see that happening, but I feel like AJ and Paige will get their vengeance over the Bella Twins on Sunday. I feel like that's... I'm
going to pull an RJ and go back. Now, you made a great point that Nikki hasn't lost in, like, months on a pay-per-view, so I'm going to pull an RJ and go back and say that I'm going to pick AJ and Paige as well.
Okay, so that's 2 for 2 then. We got
sticking
AJ,
with the Bellas.
Sticking with the Bellas, and Arden, you're sticking with the Bellas too?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Bellas, man.
Bella
Come on,
Army
RJ,
for
don't be a
life.
flip-flopper.
I think the match itself could be good, like I said before. But the only reason why I'm going with the baby faces is because they've been beaten down week after week after week. And they're trying to tease the tension between AJ and Paige. And I don't think they're going to go back to that feud because they've already done it to death. But yeah, so AJ and Paige for me and Arden, the Bella Twins for RJ and Mike. So,
No. Me and Arden are the Bella Twins.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Don't disrespect the Bella Army.
That was a botch on my part. But up next, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, the second installment in this grand matchup that we all look forward to every single year. I think the outcome of this is pretty predictable, but the contestants include The Miz, Damian Mizdow, Ryback, Big Show, Kane, Mark Henry, Connor Victor, Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, Eric Rowan, not Eric Young, excuse me. Eric Young is not in the match. Zack Ryder, Fandango, Adam Rose, Jack Swagger, Curtis Axel, Heath Slater, Sin Cara, Goldust, and the winner of the NXT tournament. So, throw a little curveball in there. Arden, I'm going to start with you, and also in the NXT tournament is Adrian Neville, Finn Balor, Hideo Itami, and Tyler Breeze. So, your prediction for who wins the tournament at the Access show on Thursday at WrestleMania Access, and who you think wins this match?
Oh, wow. First off, tell me the participants get in the NXT. I didn't know NXT was having a Battle Royal.
Yeah, they're doing it on Thursday. They got Hideo Itami, Tyler Breeze, Finn Balor, and Adrian Neville.
Adrian Neville, let me go with Adrian Neville and in NXT. I've seen him before. He's really good. And for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, considering who's the contestant, I think it's obvious who has to win. It has to be the big guy, Ryback. Ryback has to win this one. To me, I don't think there's any other choice. If you want to keep his name afloat, if you want him to have something to carry him over for at least the next couple to a few months, give it to Ryback. When I look at this list, other than, to be honest, I don't really see anybody else who really deserves to win this Battle Royal.
We want his down.
Oh, please, forget him. Even though he's funny. Maybe besides the NXT guy, if you want to get his name up, I think it has to be Ryback.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I feel like Ryback is definitely a viable candidate, but Mizdow's got to be up there too. That's the only story they're telling going into this Battle Royal.
What are you going to do with him, though? If he wins it, then what's the point of him winning it? What, to help him break up from the Miz? Like, what's going on?
I feel like that's going to be their platform for breaking up Miz and Mizdow. They could always do a spot where Mizdow throws up Miz, then Mizdow gets thrown out. I'm not ruling that out of the question, but I feel like...
Yeah, that would be better anyway.
Yeah, I feel like that's where they might go. But of those three people, I feel like Mizdow has gotten the most focus. And I love Ryback as much as the next guy. And they also put out a video for him, I think today, on their website or whatever, WWE.com, talking about why Ryback needs to win. He got really emotional while coming back from injury. So I feel like that would be a great ending too. Mizdow, though, has got the story. I don't feel like he needs to win this. Either guy could very well win. The NXT guy is also the wild card in all of this. And that if they have him win it all and make a huge impression at WrestleMania, that would be amazing. I don't feel like that's going to happen, but Before we go with my prediction, though, Michael, start with you. Your prediction for the NXT tournament winner and the winner of the second annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they had this NXT tournament. That's actually interesting. I'm a huge fan of, is it, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I say Finn Balor, but is it Balor? I don't even know. But,
everyone pronounces it differently, yeah.
I'll call him Prince Devitt. But I'm a huge fan of him. I think he's ready to go to the main roster now, along with Kevin Owens. But honestly, the guy who had, I think he should have been called up 6 months ago. But I think Adrian Neville will probably win that. I think he's most, deserving of the call up to the main roster, and so I think he'll win that, and they'll show him off at WrestleMania. As for the winner, my prediction on the actual Battle Royal, I think Ryback is probably the favorite. I know, last night Bill Simmons was talking him up on the videos today on WWE.com. Bill Simmons is talking him up again. Ryback had a video, like you said. It was actually a pretty good interview. You can check it out.
It was,
yeah. Emotional, everything. He is actually pretty good at those backstage interviews. You can tell that he cares about the business and stuff. But like I said, I just think if they want this match to, mean something and not just have it be filler, that place, if it comes down to Mizdow and Miz, that place is going to explode. The place is going to go nuts for Mizdow. They've been teasing it for weeks, and you can tell every single time, they tease that Mizdow's about to hit him or do something, the crowd just goes bonkers for it. So I think I want Mizdow, and, if I had money on it, I'd go Ryback. But at the same time, you never know with Ryback. So I would feel, look at Survivor Series. He got eliminated in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
You never know. So I feel like 1 second they're high on him, the next second he's got a match on main event. So I'm gonna go with Mizdow for once and Mizdow for the prediction. Hopefully they don't mess that up because I think the payoff to the Mizdow story could be incredible.
I think an argument could be made that the dynamic between Mizdow and Miz is one of the most anticipated things going into WrestleMania. It's been built all the way back to August when these two first formed and joined and formed a partnership. So for it to culminate at WrestleMania and then lead to a singles match at Extreme Rules or whatever, it's going to be huge. Like you said, that place is going to come unglued when it comes down to those two. And you throw Ryback into the mix too. I feel like those are your three top winners there along with the NXT guy. The NXT guy, I'll give my prediction on in a minute, but I feel like they need to have him in there and make some sort of lasting impression. You know what I mean? They can't throw him out immediately because otherwise, what was the point? It does more damage to that guy than it does help them. But I think it's great, though, because we talked about before, an NXT match should have been on the pre-show. I would have cared about that 10 times more than I do the tag team title match. But regardless, so I feel like this Battle Royal could be interesting in more ways than one. So, RJ, your pick of both the tournament and the Battle Royal.
For the tournament, I think this is a consensus pick. Adrian Neville makes the most sense. Should have been called up a while ago, like Mike said, but he's been flown around in NXT doing pretty much nothing because he's already faced everyone. So I think that's already a given that he's probably going to win. And like you said, he should at least eliminate someone of somewhat notoriety. You can't just eliminate Darren Young, and I would give two craps.
Big Show or Kane.
Big Show or Kane would be perfect people to eliminate.
Yeah.
And my pick for Andre Giant Memorial is someone that hasn't even been mentioned yet.
Ooh, drum roll, please.
The returning Sheamus.
Ooh, you think so?
I think if
that's a good one.
I think if he doesn't return, I would go with Mizdow. But I think he's going to return at WrestleMania and win the Giant Memorial.
You think he's going to be in that match over the IC title match?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of speculation as to how Sheamus might.
But if Sheamus isn't in the match, I'm going with Mizdow. I think that makes the most sense. Like you said, people would go bonkers in that stadium.
Much like Cesaro last year, too.
Oh, my God. People want to see Mizdow, so they would go nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'd really do for him after, but it'd just be a great moment to, culminate the rest of his, half of last year into this year and his, rise in popularity.
Exactly. Absolutely. So you got, at the end of the day, though, you got Sheamus
If he's in the match, Sheamus.
Okay.
If he's not, Mizdow.
Okay. So Sheamus. We've also got Ryback and Mizdow. But before I give my pick, I want to ask you guys. RJ brought this up, so a great topic to talk about here. Mike, how do you feel like Sheamus might get involved in WrestleMania, or at all? Do you feel like he might not show up?
Well, if I'll go first and say I think there's two options, and I'm glad you brought it up because there's actually something I was thinking about saying on my show tomorrow. I think there's two options that I'm going to have for Sheamus. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Actually, no, three. One being the Battle Royal, right? Two, we've heard, I know you guys have heard it, or I hope so. You guys heard the reports about Sheamus coming back as a heel, right?
Yeah, of course, yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard about the fact that he could come back as a heel for the Authority, right? Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe for the second option, there's a possibility that if anything, Sheamus could come back as interference during the Orton-Rollins match. That's my second option. Or three, I think it's a very unlikely one. Maybe Sheamus could somehow interfere in the Sting Triple H match. The third one's very unlikely, but I think those are the three options for a Sheamus return.
I agree with you, though. You brought up the interesting one. The most interesting one of those three was Orton and Rollins. I feel like if he were to make an impact in that match, which is likely if they want to give Rollins the win, and Rollins has not gotten the better of Randy Orton since he came back. So that's a distinct possibility if they want to give Rollins the win. So I could see that happening. But Sheamus, in whatever role he's in, I feel like they really need to make the most of him. And if he's in the match and doesn't win, like then what was the point? You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's what they're going to do. But Mike, what's your pick for Sheamus at WrestleMania? Do you feel like he will be at WrestleMania, and if so, in what match?
Yeah, so Arden, I didn't know that he was coming back at the heel, so thanks a lot. No, I'm just
no problem.
I'm just messing with you. Like Arden said, the reports. I think Sheamus has to come back as a heel. Maybe that first night he'll get a face pop. But he has to come back as a heel. He was way too boring, the past 4 of his face run. He just needs to be that kick-ass heel. That just basically is this big bully, ass kicker pretty much. I think that, and I just thought about it, Graham, when you brought it up. I think, if their final four of the Battle Royal is, Sheamus, Ryback, Miz, and Mizdow, you have a couple of good stories there, and that's actually pretty interesting. Give me Sheamus, knocking, kicking Ryback out. Have Ryback and Sheamus feud. I think that'll be a hell of a feud. Two of these huge, muscle-bound guys just beating the crap out of each other. And then, you have Miz and Mizdow. But, I think, Sheamus coming back as a heel. I think, Battle Royal is definitely a good spot to put him in. And I don't think he necessarily needs to win the Battle Royal, but I could see it happening. But I'm definitely would be down. Just thought about it right now. I would definitely be down for a Sheamus Ryback feud.
So I'm going to steal a little bit from everything from everybody here. In regards to Sheamus, I absolutely agree with everybody. He needs to come back as a heel. They need more top heels, especially if Wyatt and Rusev lose at WrestleMania. They need all the top heels they can get, and I refuse to call Big Show and Kane top heels in WWE in 2015. I'm sorry, I can't do that. But in regards to Sheamus...
smart.
What was that?
Just smart for doing that.
Exactly. Not a Big Show or Kane fan. But when it comes to Sheamus, I absolutely agree that we should get a Ryback feud with Sheamus after WrestleMania. I think it'd be a good fit for both guys, something fresh. But I'm going to go off the cuff here. I'm going to go a little, off the stream. I feel like Sheamus will show up on Monday Night Raw the next night. We all thought Rusev was going to debut at WrestleMania last year, but then he debuted the next night on Raw. Something always happens on the night after Raw. Rob Van Dam came back last year on the night after WrestleMania. So I feel like Sheamus will come back in some big way on that Raw. Maybe not in a main event slot, but I feel like he will come back to attack Ryback or whoever. So I got Sheamus coming back the night after WrestleMania on that Raw. When it comes to the Battle Royal itself and the tournament, I got Adrian Neville like all of you guys. If Valor wins, I'd go nuts. I feel like it'd be so awesome if he wins. If the NXT guy wins his Battle Royal, I would go even more nuts, but I feel like that's not going to happen. But still, though, if he gets a strong showing, then it won't matter. It's going to be pretty good. In terms of the winner, 3-way tiebreaker here. You, RJ, you got Sheamus, if he's in the match. Mike, you've got Mizdow, and Arden, you've got Ryback. At the end of the day, I got to go with Mizdow here. I feel like he is the one that's got to win. Ryback, if he won, I'd be equally happy because I'm a big Ryback fan. I'm an equal big mark for the big guy. But I feel like Mizdow, with the story they've been telling, that they're setting up the win for him at WrestleMania. Give him his moment. And what happens after that, I really have no idea. They may, botch the feud and he's back to jobbing on superstars like Cesaro was last year. We really have no idea until it happens. But I feel like Mizdow...
They'll definitely ruin it somehow.
Oh, they will. They will. They absolutely will.
Think of this. Think if Sheamus comes back, wins the Rumble, or
Battle
Stupid
Royal.
Battle Royal, whatever the hell it's called. So everyone thinks he's a babyface. Rollins and Orton, all of them are out there. Big Show, Kane, J&J are out there. Sheamus comes out for the save. Bro kicks Big Show. Bro kicks J&J and whatever the Kane.
Yep.
Instead of kicking Rollins, Bro kicks Randy Orton right in the head. Rollins slides in for the pin. He's a line of authority like that.
I could see that. Take Big Show and Kane out of the authority, insert Sheamus, and it's a way better
Exactly,
faction.
it's way better. And J&J need to go too. They suck. They sucked 10 years ago. They didn't get rid of them too.
I could stomach J&J security because at least they're not at the Final Four in the Royal Rumble. If Big Show and Kane are at the end of this matchup, I am going to be so mad. I will be going... RJ's going to see because we're watching WrestleMania at his place.
Can't wait.
Oh, that's going to be awesome, dude. I'm looking forward to it. But if Big Show and Kane are at the end of this match, I will be so mad. But the match itself, Sheamus. I mean, I think it's worth noting they did not air a video package for his return last night on Raw. They've been doing it for the last 2 months now, and they did not promote it last night on Raw. So maybe a little swerve. And had RJ not brought it up, I would have completely forgot about the Celtic Warrior. So those were our thoughts on that, the Battle Royal, and the tournament itself. Up next, the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. This can go all sorts of ways. This is probably the most unpredictable match in the entire card. And there's a lot of people that you can pick here. I'm definitely of two minds on this. But the contestants include Daniel Bryan, Bad News Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Stardust, and R-Truth. Yes, R-Truth is in this matchup too, but it is what it is. So, Arden, I will start with you. Who do you got for the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania on Sunday?
This is the part of the card that gets so hard to predict in terms of not only who do you pick to win, but why and how. I don't know about you guys, but it really feels that way for me. But for this match, I think about the belt, man, and I'm sorry to become, all nostalgic, but I just think about the Intercontinental Championship, and I remember just watching it when I first started watching this business and how much it meant. Like, that title used to mean whoever had it was about to be a top-tier player. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was about to be the next guy up. So just to see it become useless now and guys want to play around every week, I found it funny for the first couple times, but now I find it corny. I think if you really want to make it important again, if you really want to give it some value, if you really want people to care about it, I think Daniel Bryan needs to win this match. I mean, you could go in another direction in terms of maybe giving it to a young guy or making maybe Bad News Bear retain it, but I don't think nobody is taking the title serious enough. You give it to Daniel Bryan with where he is in his business today, people are going to care about the title once again. The Intercontinental Championship is going to be where it was in the early 2000s, where people cared about those matches when the late, great Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho used to compete for those titles, or when The Rock and Triple H and Stone Cold used to compete for that title back in the late 90s. We need these secondary titles to get back to where it was. So I believe that Daniel Bryan should win this match if you want that title to have any value again.
I absolutely agree. I think we can all agree here that the Intercontinental Championship has been so devalued, not in the only last couple of months, but RJ and I tweeted this and you replied to it in regards to the last great Intercontinental Champion that elevated somebody was Randy Orton in 2004, over a decade ago. It's been mid-card galore ever since then, and I feel like this matchup may not do a lot to boost its prestige, especially after the build-up we've been getting. It's not been the best build for an Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania, but I feel like the match itself could very well deliver. Will the title mean something coming out of WrestleMania? Kind of depends on who holds it. It won't go, prestige. It won't mean something overnight if Daniel Bryan wins it, but it will kind of take those first steps in making it mean something again. But Daniel Bryan is who all the dirt sheets have in regarding to winning it, and it's going to mean something. John Cena winning the U.S. Championship simultaneously, so I could see that happening. So Arden, you've got Daniel Bryan here. RJ, you're up next. Who do you got?
I have to go with consensus. It has to be Daniel Bryan here. I think if you give it to anyone else, I think it's going to be the exact same as it was before. We've seen Ziggler have it and drop it. Harper's done the same. Ambrose barely defended the United States Championship, and he's lost the last couple months, so why would people really be that excited about Ambrose winning it? Stardust is Stardust. R-Truth doesn't even belong in the match, and Bad News Barrett hasn't won a match in, forever.
Booker T was asking the same
Exactly.
thing, yeah.
I think it has to be Daniel Bryan. I think it doesn't even matter how much prestige. It actually means something. Obviously, and it's something like Daniel Bryan, they won't have him booked to lose all the time.
Yeah, like Rusev.
Like Rusev. And I think Bryan holding it up to SummerSlam would be something that would be great for this title, because I think he could have great matches with Ambrose and all of them. I think he's obviously above the title. I think Ambrose is above the title too, but I'm not booking matches and making millions of dollars, so I can't really be saying what it is. But I think Bryan it's the consensus pick. I think it's the one that makes the most sense, and I don't think any other guy would really change the perspective of the IC title right now.
Well, it was you many months ago. Even before Bryan was even in this matchup, you said that he should win the IC championship, hold on to that belt for a long time, and then drop it, to like Rollins, who gives it up, whatever. I feel like that's what should happen with this belt. Whether exactly like that, but I feel like a lot of people are saying Cena Bryan 2 at SummerSlam for the mid-card titles. That would be insane. That's like a dream booking scenario. I don't see that happening, but would be incredible, though. So we got 2 Daniel Bryan picks. Mike, you're up next. Is it going to go 3-0 here with Daniel Bryan, or who do you got?
Dark horse candidate. I can see Dean Ambrose winning the title, but RJ basically explained it pretty much perfectly. Just going down the list, R-Truth, I think they're just putting him in the match because he's going to retire soon, and I don't know if he's ever been in a WrestleMania. So they want to give him that match before he goes. Stardust is not winning anything. Bad News Barrett has just been such an awful champion. I think if he wins, they could help him some, but he hasn't done anything. Luke Harper, probably one of the worst Intercontinental champions in the past 5 years. He had it for a month.
Hey! I like Luke Harper. Leave him alone.
I like him too, but they just have ruined him basically. But,
love the wife beater.
I don't know. We can get into a whole story about why they, break up the Wyatt family and stuff. I think that was so stupid. But anyways, Dolph, he's beaten Bryan the past 2 weeks. So, that basically, unfortunately, with the way WWE books things, that's basically guaranteeing that he's not going to win. I got to go with Daniel Bryan. I think, and you brought up a good point, Graham, with John Cena, possibly, most likely winning the U.S. title, and Bryan winning the Intercontinental title, especially with Brock Lesnar re-signing. I think that Vince McMahon can confidently keep the title on Lesnar, and it's really not that big of a deal. The title hasn't really been there since SummerSlam regardless. But here's the difference: is people don't care about a Bad News Barrett holding it. People don't really care about. Dolph Ziggler, yes, but my point is, if Bryan is the IC title, fans are going to think that's the title. You can main event pay-per-views that Brock Lesnar's gone on with that title. We'll get into Cena in a second, but Extreme Rules, you can main event a U.S. title match between Rusev and Cena if Brock Lesnar doesn't show up to that. But I think that the fans love Bryan so much that he will elevate that title. The fans will elevate that title, and I think it's a missed opportunity, really, if he does not win on Sunday.
So with Daniel Bryan, I feel like we got 3 picks for Daniel. Oh, you wore your Daniel Bryan t-shirt. I didn't even notice that. But, I feel like Daniel Bryan has to win this matchup. He lost to Dolph Ziggler twice for some reason. I don't know why. They were great matches, good for Ziggler, but I think it was more about devaluing Bryan than it was elevating Ziggler after the whole turd chant. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But in terms of my pick here, going down the card just like you did, R-Truth, if they want to throw us a curve, if they want to ruin this WrestleMania, they'll have R-Truth win. But I feel like WWE isn't that dumb. I'm not going to put it past them, but you never know. Luke Harper, absolutely not. Stardust, if they were going to put the title on him to do a feud with Goldust, then why isn't Goldust in the match? It makes no sense. I think that feud is done, so Stardust is no. With Dolph Ziggler, there's a slight chance, but like you guys just said, he had reign after reign after reign, and we all thought he was going to reach that next level after it, and it didn't. Not because of him, but because of how they booked him. So I feel like, been there, done that 5 times already, so we don't need to see that again. So it comes down to Barrett, Bryan, and Ambrose, and of those 3, you're going to be surprised with my pick. Who I think is going to win? Bad News Barrett. No!
I knew you was going to go with him.
Bad News Barrett. I'm not saying I want him to win. I love Bad News Barrett, but here's the thing, though, because when he first came back, he had a lot of momentum. People were cheering when he faced Cesaro in the last Raw of last year. It was great, but they ruined the guy as champion. I think we all know that by now. But, the story in the segment last night is what convinced me. When Kane was backstage with Barrett, he was like, oh, you're going to have to go up against the odds. You're not going to retain your title. And he's losing and losing and losing. Then he'll win at WrestleMania. I feel like that's where they're going with this. I don't want to see that happen because even if Barrett does win, it's not going to help him. It's not going to help the championship. They are far past beyond the point of repairing Bad News Barrett with that championship. So I don't want it to happen. Absolutely not. He's my last pick aside from R-Truth. But yeah, I got Bad News Barrett. I feel like Daniel Bryan should win. And I love you guys' scenarios, and that you can main event Raws, pay-per-views, house shows with these guys, with Daniel Bryan and John Cena as mid-card champions. And Dean Ambrose, too, people have said, he was the one that started this whole thing. He has yet to win a pay-per-view match since like June of last year, which is ludicrous. But yeah, I gotta have to go with Bad News Barrett here because I feel like that's just the way that WWE books things. But the match itself, though, I think we can all agree will be great. I feel like it can be really, really good. Hopefully it is not a train wreck, of just people just going at it, and that's all it is. I feel like they can tell a very solid story with the ladders involved. So we get into the marquee matches here, the final 5 matches on the WrestleMania card. We get into the final 5 matches on the WrestleMania card. Up first, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins in one of the more anticipated matches at WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to this one. I feel like this match is going to be great. One of these show stealers, as everyone's been saying. So, RJ, I'll start with you. Will Randy Orton get his vengeance at WrestleMania, or does Rollins reign supreme? What do you feel like? Who do you got?
I don't think this is as predictable, but I think Rollins has to go over. I think Rollins hasn't got over on Orton since Orton turned his back on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be dirty or something, but I think Rollins has to win here. I think Randy Orton winning wouldn't really help Randy Orton. If Rollins wins, I think it would help him more. His first WrestleMania on his own, winning, and he'd probably be the only heel that would probably win, besides Lesnar maybe. But I think it'd make perfect sense for Rollins to win, come out of WrestleMania strong, beating Randy Orton, and going on to facing whoever, maybe cashing in the title. But if he loses to Orton and then cashes in, he kind of I feel like devalues his loss to Orton. Because then why wouldn't Orton just face him again and beat him?
Exactly.
I think it has to be Rollins.
You make a great point, too. You said that he might be the only heel that wins in terms of the main event matches. And I absolutely agree. I'm looking at it right now, and it feels like it's very, very babyface favored. So you're going to have one heel go over, and it very well might be Seth Rollins. That doesn't change my pick, but I'll get to that in a minute. But, Mike, who's your pick for the Orton versus Rollins match at WrestleMania?
I think RJ basically nailed it on the head. I just blogged about it earlier, but too, going through this match, I'm not a big fan of looking at, first off, I don't understand who bets on the WWE. But
yeah.
There are people out there that bet on it. And I don't know, RJ, did you see that they WWE just did a deal with DraftKings too, like a daily fantasy site?
Yeah.
For SummerSlam, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. Anyways, but I saw that the favorite right now is Randy Orton, and that actually took me by surprise a little bit because I don't think Orton is still young and he's in his prime still and everything, but I just think that he doesn't have a ton to gain by winning this match. I think extend the feud a little bit more and have him win Extreme Rules. Give Rollins the win here. Like you guys said, maybe by something dirty. I don't think it really matters if it's clean or dirty. But I think it's important that Rollins gets that big singles win in his first singles match at WrestleMania, and then possibly cashing in later in the night or the next night. But I think him beating Orton, definitely continues to push him upward.
The build for this match has been really, really weird because Orton came back like a house of fire at Fastlane, targeting Rollins, right off the bat, and it was great. And then the next night he rejoined the Authority for a few weeks, and then he turned on him again, and he beat the living crap out of Rollins on Raw. The build has been very, very weird. It's like they got it out of order. They should have done the Authority stuff first, then attacks him, and then then he tries to get his hands on him before he finally gets his hands on him on the final Raw before WrestleMania. The build has been very, very odd. But the match itself, though, I think we can all agree, it could be great. And the outcome could be very much in question. Because I feel like Rollins could get his huge win, kind of establishing himself as a star at WrestleMania. Whereas with Randy Orton can, come back at his big win. And I'll get into my thoughts on that just in a second. But it could very well go either way. So we got 2 picks for Seth Rollins. Arden, who do you got up next for this matchup?
Well, make it 3. It has to be Seth Rollins. And the reason why I'm going with that way is because I'm going at it from the standpoint of maybe the WWE doesn't associate Seth Rollins with the WWE title just yet in terms of not just being the champion, but in terms of maybe being in pursuit. And honestly, I would like to see Rollins Orton extend beyond WrestleMania. I think you could do it for at least another month, continue to play off the tensions, and especially with Rollins, now that, Orton has basically dominated this month ever since his return, and with him beating down Rollins and getting his hands on him, if you have Rollins beat Orton at WrestleMania, that's at least 2 weeks' worth of solid material in terms of what he can use against Randy Orton. And then you got Randy getting his payback at the next pay-per-view. But, again, I think it comes down to it that, who needs to win more? Who will it do it best for? It will definitely benefit Seth Rollins more than Randy Orton. So count me for Rollins to beat Orton at Mania.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Arden, too. That I don't think Rollins. This feud. I personally think it can definitely go another month and conclude at Extreme Rules. What type of match they'll have, who knows? But I definitely think you can end the feud with Rollins getting his come up and at Extreme Rules.
So
absolutely, it's just the way it has to be.
With this matchup, this is the 3rd straight matchup that I'm going against the grain here. 3 picks for Seth Rollins. I'm going with Randy Orton, and here's why. Because Seth Rollins, I feel like, will be world champion at some point in the very near future, whether it's at WrestleMania or whether I'm thinking the night after WrestleMania on Raw, or maybe even at Extreme Rules, but I feel like he will cash in successfully and be champion. So, whereas with Randy Orton, if he beats Rollins on Sunday, he could say, hey, I beat you, give me a title match, and that can be your next title match for whatever pay-per-view, for Extreme Rules, for whatever's after that Payback. They could do a triple threat with Reigns or insert Orton in there, but I agree with all you guys in saying that the feud should continue past WrestleMania. Even though it's been a little weird before WrestleMania, both guys have been great so far. We can get more matches out of them because they have great chemistry together. We saw that a couple months ago when they worked for the first time. But we need more, we need more out of this feud coming out of WrestleMania. So I feel like Rollins will win this matchup. Or I'm sorry, Randy Orton. Randy Orton will win this matchup, and Rollins will win the championship, and he'll continue over the belt in the spring. So I've got Orton. So you guys.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Yep.
All right. To disregard. When it happens, how it happens, where it happens, against who, doesn't matter who's the champion, where, when, whatever. Just a simple question. We'll start with you, Graham, and then go Arden and then RJ. Do you think Seth Rollins successfully cashes in the briefcase? Yes or no?
I was gonna ask you this, guys, at the end of the show, but we'll just go with it right now. We'll just get right into it. Yes, I feel like he will do it successfully. Yes.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk more in depth about it. I just want a yes or no question.
Yeah. That's a yes from me.
Is the question, will he be successful if he cashes it in?
Yeah. Will he successfully cash in his briefcase?
Regardless of when it happens?
Doesn't matter when it is. It could be 3 months from now. When
Yes.
Cash in, will it be
Yes.
success?
Yes, it has to be. Yes.
RJ?
I think this is a guaranteed yes. I think it has to be. I think it would kill his whole year of last year if he loses the Money in the Bank. That's what his saving grace has been the whole last year, how he's been Mr. Money in the Bank and he's the authority's pet in the future of the W. If he loses it, it's just throwing last year out the window.
After losing...
Go
ahead.
agree with you guys. But I remember I just remember thinking back when I remember all the way back to SummerSlam back in August when Lesnar won the title and everyone was saying he's going to hold the title all the way to WrestleMania. And then Reigns is the chosen one. Reigns is going to beat Lesnar and blah, blah, blah. I just don't think that WWE has, I remember saying this, maybe I said to Graham, maybe to RJ, maybe both of you, but I just remember saying that I just don't see when I think he will successfully tag team, but I just really, part of me just doubts that they somehow aren't going to do it because I think time is running out. You have till June or July, and I don't think that they're going to give Reigns. When Reigns wins his first title, I think it's going to be a long ass title reign. I don't think it's going to be a one night thing. I don't think it's going to be a 30-second thing because they put so much into him that I really don't think that they're going to do that. Now that Lesnar re-signed, I think that definitely makes things a little bit more interesting. But we can talk about that later, like you said.
No, but absolutely, I agree. And coming out of WrestleMania, though, I felt I had that same exact mindset coming out of SummerSlam, back when he won the championship, Brock Lesnar, that is. But now that Roman Reigns, and I also felt, dating back to a few months ago, that Reigns should have a long reign with that belt, no pun intended. But at this point, now that he's not gotten over, he's not where he should be, and after that terrible ending to Raw last night, and granted, like you just said, Mike, I feel like the re-signing of Brock Lesnar definitely does throw a wrench into things in terms of whether he retains on Sunday or not. But with Roman Reigns, though, I feel like they do not have enough faith in him, right now anyway, to become the world champion for a long period of time. So they're not going to give him that long reign, in my opinion. I feel like he will.
Are we going to talk about that ending last night? Because that was.
We'll get to it. We'll definitely get to it when we get to Lesnar versus Reigns at the end. That was, like you said, I think you summed it up best. Then there was definitely something else last night at the end of Raw, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But final predictions, I've got Randy Orton, RJ Orton.
Rollins.
Oh, Rollins. Why did I say? I keep on mixing up these guys. So you got Rollins. I've got Orton. Mike, who do you got? You got Rollins, right?
Yeah, I got Rollins.
And Arden, you got Rollins?
Yep, got Rollins.
Sounds good. So another 3-1 pick here on WrestleRant Radio. So we move into the marquee matches here at WrestleMania, or more so marquee than Orton versus Rollins, for the United States Championship. Rusev versus John Cena.
Sound like the guy from last week.
I do. For the United States Championship, Rusev versus John Cena. So, Arden, I will start with you. 2 questions. Who do you want to win? Who do you want to see win? Or who do you want to see win? Who do you think will win? Or 3 questions. And do you think Lana will be there, present at ringside for Rusev's battle against John Cena? So, what do you got?
First of all, let me answer the Lana question real quickly. She better be there. She better be there. Again, I was at the house show in Brooklyn a couple weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to see her. And yes, she is just as fine as she is on TV. And 2, when it comes to the match itself, it's a tough one, man. It's like I said a few minutes ago. It's a part of the card where you really have to start thinking about who wins, not only because of right now, but for the future. And I think who I want to see win, I want to see Rusev win. I think it will be awesome, and I think it will be a little bit of a twist to see the young guy beat the face of the WWE 2 times in a row in John Cena. But in terms of who has to win or who will, it's probably going to be Cena. And it relates to the same thing that we talked about with the Intercontinental Championship, which is somebody has to bring the belt value again, and it'll be ironic that 11 years after winning it for the first time, or one of his first times at WrestleMania 20 versus Big Show at the Garden, Cena wins it again. So I want Rusev to win to continue giving the young guy momentum, but at the same time, in terms of who will win, it has to be John Cena.
It's a sad, sad story because we all saw this coming not only at the start of this feud, but dating back, we talked about it. There's a clip on the YouTube channel back in the fall. We were saying when it was first rumored why this feud should not happen. You know, the feud has been good. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not saying it's been crap. The attack last night I also thought was really, really good. The result of this matchup bothers me, though, and I'll get into that in a minute. But, RJ, your pick for this match between Rusev and John Cena.
All right, first, Lana has to be there. I think it makes the most sense. She's been with him his whole stint so far. She has to be there. It makes it what it is. I want Rusev to win, and I'm going off the bold prediction. I think Rusev will retain the belt. I think Arden was saying that he thinks if Cena wins, then he'll make the belt more prestigious. I think the belt has been better hands than it has been the last 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
And if Rusev retains against John Cena, I think you'd give the belt even more prestige because he beat the 10-time or whatever stupid time champion is. Beat him twice. And I think they can't drop the ball on Rusev. They did it last year with Bray Wyatt. Where does it go with Rusev if he loses? He's not going to be a WWE Championship contention.
Nope.
So he has to retain this belt. I think this would be a great move for WWE to keep it on Rusev. And just, I think he could build him into a bigger star if he can beat Cena again, especially at WrestleMania. I have to go with Rusev. I can't stand Cena. Going with Rusev.
I feel like this is so deja vu from Wyatt Cena last year. We were having the same discussion last year, and like we know Cena's gonna win, but we think Wyatt should win for all these reasons. And then Cena won, and they never learn from their own mistakes. But you got Wyatt, he's got Cena.
I got Rusev. I got Wyatt.
Did I say Wyatt? What the hell? I'm screwing my name today. But yeah, you got Rusev. And Mike, who do you got for Rusev versus John Cena on Sunday?
Rusev and Cena. I mean, on one hand, you look at it and you really cannot fathom. You find it really hard to believe that John Cena is going to win the U.S. title. If you look back on it, and it's also talking about the Intercontinental Championship. I was going to bring this up before, but it's like really, really rare when you look at the history of those belts. It's really rare that you see, especially a guy who's, he's not. I'd say Cena's still in his prime. He's at the tail end of his prime. But when you see a guy who is a former main eventer or a former world champion, really rare to see them go down to these secondary titles, especially in their prime. So, looking at it from that end, and that's the same thing with Daniel Bryan. It's really weird to think about those guys with these titles, but putting a positive spin on it. Those guys having the titles, like we talked about before, it makes Raw important. It makes these pay-per-views that Lesnar, if he retains, important. It really, really elevates those titles. Honestly, if Bryan and Cena both leave with those titles, they're more important than I think they are more important than they've been in probably since 2000, like you said, 2003, 2004, when Cena won and Orton had the IC title. I think that Cena's going to win. I don't see Cena, especially after he lost at Fastlane. I just don't see Cena losing. I don't see Cena losing at WrestleMania. I think it's kind of similar to Bray Wyatt last year. I said the same thing. I saw Cena. I don't see him losing to these young guys. When a million people are watching. I think Rusev maybe gets the title back in the next pay-per-view if they want to drag it out. Who knows? But I got Cena. I actually want Cena to win. I'm not a John Cena fanboy by any means, but I think that he could definitely add some prestige to that title. Not to say that Rusev has brought the title down by any means. He hasn't. It's more the booking because I can't even imagine. I don't even remember the last time he defended it before Fastlane. So, I got Cena.
So with this feud, though, I feel like what makes it obvious, and obviously I got Cena too. So you got Rusev, and everyone else has John Cena. So I'm not going with John Cena because I feel like they want to build up the mid-card titles. I'm going with Cena, even though I feel like that should be the case. I'm going with John Cena because I feel like you just said, Mike, they made it way too obvious. It was a miracle in and of itself at Fastlane when Rusev won, much less twice at WrestleMania. So I don't feel like lightning will strike twice at WrestleMania with Rusev beating John Cena, which is unfortunate because I feel like Rusev should win. It would elevate him to an all-new high. But what I would like to see, Rusev winning, obviously. What I would love to see is that Rusev wins here. And then the question is, who does he work with next? There's a couple of baby faces. There's Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose. Any of those guys would be great. But, I mean, this is like a long shot, but imagine Rusev wins at WrestleMania, beats the face of the company, the guy who beat Rock and all these other people at WrestleMania, okay? So Rusev wins, and next night on Raw, he comes out and says, I've beaten everybody, I'm the best U.S. champion ever. It was on this Raw a year ago where I made my debut, and I've been here for a year, and I've been going undefeated. So then out comes this NXT star, Sami Zayn or Finn Balor, and beats him for the belt. He hands him his first loss. Do you feel like that could happen, RJ?
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think that would diminish all that he did.
I feel like it would be...
I think it would be awesome, but I think it would literally just take Rusev's last year and shit all over it. He's been so dominant, and he's beating Cena, but he loses to Neville or Zayn? I don't see it.
That's true, but I feel like maybe they could do it in fluky fashion, maybe with John Cena costing him the belt. Do you feel like that could be the case?
Or make it like fluky,
Yeah,
like have a distraction or something.
Exactly.
I still don't think it's right. Because then what are they going to do? Is Sami Zayn fighting Kane at Extreme Rules?
True, yeah.
Because he's the only... What other heels could have babyface face again after that? Like, who else is he going to face? Ryback again?
For the heels?
Yeah.
If Sami Zayn won.
If Sami Zayn won, what heel could he face?
That's a good question. Bad news. Barrett, Sheamus, Big Show,
Stardust, you're just refilling the feeder.
True.
All these guys that...
But then who does John Cena face?
That's why I have Rusev winning.
Oh, true. Oh, okay, good point. So John Cena, well, here's what I think is going to happen. John Cena wins, and then he loses back the belt to Rusev at Extreme Rules, and then whoever costs John Cena that match will be his next feud. That's what I feel like is going to happen. We got that same exact thing with Big Show a couple years ago.
Could you see Sheamus screwing over
John Cena?
I
could see that. I could absolutely see that. Yeah, and like Arden was just saying, instead of the Orton Rollins thing, you insert him into the Cena Rusev thing. Oh, that's perfect, because Sheamus was feuding with Rusev on his way out. So you think, oh, Sheamus is going to come out, he's going to save John Cena from Rusev, and he beats him up, and he costs him that match. We've seen the feud before. But in either scenario, Rusev still loses. So I still got John Cena. I mean, I'm gonna face the facts here. I'm just gonna accept the reality.
I'm not gonna accept it. I don't think that.
This is why you have to be a writer, and I'm not even trying to ride you here. And I've said it for months now, though. You need to be on the WWE writing staff. I don't care what your resume is, but. I didn't even think about an NXT call-up, and then you have Rusev's next feud right there. I think that's brilliant. Bring up Sami Zayn or Adrian Neville, have him go against Rusev. I think that's a tremendous idea.
I like the idea with the NXT star, but the issue I have is him dropping the belt.
It doesn't have to be the next night.
I would accept a Sami Zayn, absolute dogfight. Like, he's put Rusev through all the stuff he can do, can't beat him. Rusev wins after a hell of a match, hits him with the hula kick.
I like that, actually.
50, 100 times, and Rusev keeps kicking out.
The night after WrestleMania?
The night after WrestleMania, then they feud. He tells Rusev, I gave you your lunch, and you barely beat me. Give me a match at Extreme Rules. Maybe then he beats him.
Do what they should have done with Jack Swagger, and you have him beat Sami Zayn a couple times, and it builds to Zayn beating Rusev for that belt.
Yes, I would accept that. I do not want Rusev to drop the next night.
Okay. I like that, actually. I really like that idea. So, I mean, this is our booking scenario, which means it's not going to happen, because I'd never listen to logic. But end of the day, though, for this matchup, you got Rusev, and everyone else has got John Cena. So moving into the top 3 matches of the night, easily the most unpredictable matchup on the card. It is Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. This matchup could very well go either way. You can make. No one walks out of this thing a winner. We've talked about this ad nauseum for months now, but no one walks out of this thing a winner. But someone will get their hand raised at the end of this matchup. So,
hey Graham,
what's up?
Graham, let me, if you mind, let me go first on this, because this match is tearing me apart.
Go right ahead, man.
Oh man, I'm sitting here
I know, I'm sorry, man, but here's the deal, man. I've been thinking about this match for a few days now, and I'm really torn because I truly don't know where to go. Like, I could understand both sides of the spectrum in terms of people that want Taker to win and people that want Bray to win. Like, I completely get it.
It's
but
a lose-lose situation.
Exactly. Here's where it goes back to. You want to know where it goes back to? It goes back to how inconsistent and terrible WWE writing has been over literally the past 5 years. because anybody that watched in the late 90s or early 2000s, when the writing was so good, guys can lose big-time matches and bounce back. With writing today, you're not sure if a guy can bounce back. And I think what the company is stuck with is, okay, how do we put both guys in the position where, win or lose, they'll be okay? But I will say this, though, and maybe this will answer the question about who do I want to win. We cannot have Taker all of a sudden being this rite of tradition where every year he comes back for the rest of his career and it's okay, since the streak is over, we need you to put this guy over. No. Lesnar was the prime example of being the right guy to go over Taker because it made a ton of sense for what they were going to do, okay? If Bray Wyatt is going to beat Undertaker, there better be a pretty damn good plan for him after. That's all I'm going to say. So they better have something prepared for this because it really is a lose-lose match. There's really nothing else you can do. If Taker loses for the second time in a row, I don't want to see Taker next year. I don't care if it's in Texas, WrestleMania 32. If Taker loses again this year, I do not want to see him again next year. I swear to God.
And the thing is that the guy went undefeated for 21 straight years, and then he loses 2 years in a row. That's why it's a lose-lose. And you make a great point, because I never thought about this, Arden, but you just brought it up. The aftermath with Bray Wyatt, and like a big win of beating The Undertaker, only the second person to do so behind Brock Lesnar. What does that do for Bray Wyatt in the long term? Logically speaking, it would benefit him big time, obviously. But I'm not going to say they botched the feud with Brock Lesnar and him being champion, because I think that's been well handled for the most part, aside from, not having him work more shows, but that's not his fault. With Bray Wyatt, they have to either, A, have him beat Undertaker and, go on to win the freaking belt, or Undertaker wins and then he faces Sting. There is absolutely no reason as to why Undertaker should win here and then walk off into the sunset. There is no reason why that should happen. If this is going to be his last match, it has to be him losing. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't agree with him losing 2 years in a row, but if it's his last match, it's got to go down that way, because then Bray Wyatt, because Taker leaves for good, and then Wyatt, what do you do with him? You know what I mean? It's a lose-lose. Mike, you said it yourself. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Mike. Who do you got going over?
Yeah, so, honestly, I think you, me, and RJ, we even talked about this months ago, and maybe not months ago, maybe a month ago, that it's a lose-lose situation. Honestly, they're just such stupid booking and writing by the WWE staff, and I don't know. I think they just saw, Bray Wyatt, new face of fear. All right, put me against Taker and have it pass the torch. And they didn't think about the previous 22 years. Like, you can't. I'm with Arden. Like, if Taker loses another match, I barely want to see him. I barely have interest in him this year. I love Undertaker. One of my favorite, probably top 3 wrestlers. But especially with no streak, his whole mystique and his whole deal goes down significantly. He's just a 51-year-old guy now. So him, if he loses 2 years in a row after winning 21 straight years, is just really, really just stupid writing and booking. I think best case scenario in this match is a Taker win, and I just think with Taker winning, a lot of people are going to be like, Bray Wyatt, how does he lose to this 50-year-old guy? Wyatt's going to get buried. I don't think, and I totally agree though, it's a lose-lose, but I don't think it could be as bad as we are making it out to be. Initially, a month ago, I remember saying, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it could be. I think that they could, if Wyatt loses, Taker goes over, it's not like the end of Wyatt's career or anything like that. If they make him look strong, like Punk did a couple of years ago, like Shawn Michaels did, like Triple H did, granted, they've done that story where, Taker's got taken to the limit, basically. They've done it, but I think that's the only way you can book it with him these days. But if you make Wyatt look really, really strong, and take Undertaker to his limit, with Undertaker going over, that's the best case scenario. as to my prediction, who's going to win, I got Undertaker. Who I want to win, I got Undertaker. But like I said, especially, too, with him not showing up at all during this, it's just been really hard. And Bray Wyatt's promo last night absolutely killed it, I thought. He did an awesome job last night with his promo. But one guy selling a match is really difficult. They had a couple of cool things, but, I'm just not as excited about this match as I feel like I should be. And part of that's because there is no more streaks. But I got Taker, and I totally agree with Arden that if Taker doesn't win, I know it's his home state next year, and they want to break the attendance record and all that stuff, but I don't want to see him next year. If it goes 21 years in a row not being defeated at WrestleMania and then 2 straight years, it's just stupid. And now with Brock Lesnar re-signing, I don't think breaking the streak looks that bad, because now they can continue to book Lesnar as this beast who took down the streak and everything, especially for the next year or two. So it doesn't look that bad. But Taker's got to go over. Anything other than Taker winning is just stupid.
Essentially, on paper, it's a loser versus loser match. Both guys lost to WrestleMania last year, therefore, why should I care about it? Based off Undertaker not being there, they made the most of it. Bray Wyatt has, like you just said, Mike. I thought his promo last night was exceptional. I thought it was great. And you make a great point, too, because one of the biggest criticism coming out of WrestleMania 30 was, and we talked about this last week, was the streak being broken worth it? And now that Lesnar is re-signed, a case can be made that it was. Ruining a 21-year investment, I understand that, and I still say that the streak should not have been broken. But in terms of...
I agree with you. And I don't mean to cut you off real quick, though. And I apologize for cutting you off. But I agree with you that I don't think it should have been broken. I think it was a bad decision. One thing that does drive me nuts about this feud or whatever is that he's been gone for a year, and he hasn't addressed it at all yet. At least have him address the streak. He hasn't said a word about it, so he's just going to go and fight Bray Wyatt and act like nothing happened. Mm-hmm. I think that's stupid. But anyways, continue. Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, you make a great point. He has yet to address it, and that's the whole thing going into WrestleMania. Is he going to be in good shape? What is he going to do? How is he going to look? What's he going to say? He's not going to say anything, obviously, at WrestleMania. But that's the whole interest going into this match. That's why I'm looking forward to it, to see The Undertaker. But the outcome itself is very hard to predict. And I think, like you just said, with Lesnar re-signing, in retrospect, what was the bigger flop from WrestleMania? The streak being broken or Wyatt losing? Honestly, after what we saw tonight, I would say Wyatt losing. Because at least his streak being broken can be paid off with Lesnar being re-signed. With Bray Wyatt, losing 2 years in a row on the grand stage is not going to help his credibility whatsoever. And he has significantly cooled off since his loss to John Cena. He's been doing a really good job of getting that heat back in recent months. But if he loses to Taker, then where does that put him? And if Roman Reigns wins, then you need top heel challengers for him, and you can't do that with Bray Wyatt if he loses to The Undertaker. Like you said, Mike, his career will not be ended. He will not be done for good, but it will, decrease his credibility or, his momentum significantly if he loses. But, you mentioned yourself, The Undertaker has not been seen or heard from WrestleMania, which is why I feel like Undertaker will go over, shows up the next night on Raw, and, to address, the streak being broken, coming back, winning his first match since last year. He's about to speak. Sting comes out. You set that up for next year. You don't even have to say a single word. Undertaker's about to speak, and Sting comes out instead. You set that up for WrestleMania. So I feel like that's something they can do for the post-night Raw, for the next night's Raw. Whether they do, at the end of the show, the middle of the show, doesn't matter. But that's my prediction. Undertaker goes over. They set up him versus Sting for WrestleMania 32. And that match, it's still going to mean something. But if Taker loses, I absolutely agree with you guys. The match will not mean as much if Taker goes into that match with Sting with 2 losses. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So, RJ, after all of that, what is your prediction for Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker?
This is a tough one for me.
And you were in attendance for
Wyatt's loss last year, and
you saw it firsthand.
And I was heartbroken.
As we all were.
As the Wyatt. No, I was heartbroken for Wyatt. I wasn't heartbroken for Undertaker. I just can't stomach another Wyatt loss. I know everyone's point of Undertaker winning I think the streak should have been broken. I think it should have been broken way earlier than it was. I think Randy Orton should have broken at 21, or Shawn Michaels should have won the second match.
26, yeah.
26. I think Shawn Michaels had plenty of years left on his belt, but that's another rant for another day. And I think, obviously, Lesnar has capitalized off his win of the streak last year, becoming the Beast and being a monster this whole last year, and him re-signing, he can keep going off of that. But Bray Wyatt was hot as hell going to WrestleMania last year.
That legacy promo?
Hot as hell, and then he loses to Cena. Yeah, he won Extreme Rules in one of the worst matches ever, and then lost again at Payback. But then I think he was in the Money in the Bank match, but did nothing. And then he wrestled against Jericho in a okay feud, went over at SummerSlam. No, he didn't go over it.
He won, yeah.
He went at SummerSlam, but it was what it was. Left, came back, then he beat Dean Ambrose, and then he got his heat back on him. And I think losing again, where does that put him? As one of the top heels in the WWE, if he loses again, who does he face next?
Where does he go from here?
Exactly. I think, obviously, everyone... And then if he loses Undertaker, he doesn't get his win back. Like, Mike said that, like, other guys could come back from, like, CM Punk and Triple H and Trump, but they're established names, and them losing Undertaker isn't that big of a deal. Exactly. Bray Wyatt has no credibility behind him, has never won a title... Ever won a title, not even NXT or whatever. So he has zero credibility behind him. He's built this whole character up to become somewhat of a threat, even a threat that people even thought he was going to lose to John Cena, beat John Cena, which he should have, but whatever.
Another rant for another day.
Yes, that's another rant for another day. But I think I wouldn't care that much if Undertaker lost again, because I think they could have Sting lose this year and then have Sting and Undertaker next year. Kind of just like the two has-beens lose again, and they can still build off the icon versus icon. And I don't think the casual fan that would see, Undertaker and Sting, they wouldn't really get
go
as
back
deep,
from last year,
go as deep as we're dissecting this and think of the losses and stuff like that. I think I have to go with Wyatt. I know everyone's Undertaker predictions, but I have to go with Wyatt. I think it'll hurt him 10 times worse if he loses than it'll hurt Undertaker to lose again.
What do you think Bray Wyatt goes after WrestleMania?
If he wins and Rollins wins, I could see them doing a program with them. I don't think he needs to win the program, but I think it would be good for him.
Wait, Rollins and Wyatt?
Reigns and Wyatt.
Oh, Reigns and Wyatt, okay.
Because I think what other face would you have him really battle, I guess? I think Reigns would have to be the one.
It would have to be, yeah, for the championship.
For the championship, because where else would he go? He already had Cena, so that's a face out of the way. Mm-hmm. He's already, if Bryan wins, maybe have him and Bryan, but I don't think they'd have Bryan lose the title right away to Wyatt. I think they have shown over the years that Wyatt had plenty of chances to win the belt, and they just never really gave him a chance to win the belt. I think I have to go with Wyatt. I think if he wins and Reigns wins, they'd go with the title. If he loses, I think maybe they put him in like IC title United States run, but I don't want to see him and Cena again, really. And I think,
no, absolutely not.
I think Bryan versus him, it'd be a lose-lose again because he would have to lose the Wyatt. It would make no sense for Bryan to win, then drop the Wyatt.
Exactly. Immediately, anyway.
And like I said, they've had so much time to give Wyatt a title last year or the year before that, and then they just never did. Mm-hmm. I think the IC title back a year or two ago could have built him up bigger, but I don't know. I'm going with Wyatt.
You mentioned, I remember about a year ago, coming after, out of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Remember you were saying like he should be Intercontinental Champion? That was before Jericho came back, and we knew, we didn't even know that was going to happen, obviously. But I feel like he can be with the titles being rumored to be elevated coming out of WrestleMania. That'd be a nice fit for him. But like you said, I don't want to see him face either Cena or Bryan so quickly. Him versus Reigns would be good, but Reigns isn't going to drop the title like the first pay-per-view if it's going to be the Wyatt. So where you go with Wyatt, that's the real question. So Wyatt, Undertaker for me. Final pick, Mike, who do you got?
For Taker Wyatt?
Yep.
I got Taker.
And Arden, what's your final pick?
Taker, man.
Taker. So 3 for Taker, 1 for Bray Wyatt. It's going to be interesting come Sunday. And the match itself, RJ, any quick thoughts on what the match could be itself from an in-ring standpoint?
I don't think it's going to be a 5-star classic. I think they could tell a good story, but my hopes aren't up for a great match.
Especially after the
crap fest I saw last year at WrestleMania.
Snooze fest between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, or whatever that was supposed to be. But should be a good match regardless. Hopefully they can not live up to expectations, because I don't think anyone's expecting it to be like a 5-star classic, as you said. But up next are the final 2 matches on the show, and even though it's like the semi-main event, I think it's more predictable than most of the matches. Triple H versus Sting. Now, I gotta say, of all the matches on the show, I think I'm looking forward to this one the most. The build has been great. They did a great job last night. Sting has been awesome. Triple H has been doing really, really well in his role. And they ditched the whole WCW crap. Sting said that last night. He said, I'm not here to avenge WCW. I'm here to take down Triple H. And I marked the hell out for that. I thought it was great. So, Mike, I will start with you. Who's your prediction, Sting or Triple H?
I was just on a piece of popcorn. Oh, man.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I totally agree with you. I'm real happy that they did this whole WCW, WWF thing, because I would have been kind of pissed if they were trying to do, like, another, oh, Sting's the last guy of WCW. This is the final invasion, like, the final nail in the coffin, the invasion storyline. So I'm real glad that he kind of nipped that in the bud last night. I think it has the potential to. I'm with you. I'm real excited for this match. I would have liked to see Triple H get the upper hand last night or just in one of these shows, just because I feel like it's been all Sting ever since Survivor Series. Triple H hasn't gotten the upper hand at all, pretty much. But I am real excited for this match. I kind of wish that they just, because I'm so sick of the Authority, I just kind of wish that they made like a stipulation that if Sting wins, the Authority doesn't have power anymore or something. Just because I feel like the heel Authority figure storyline has just been done to death. Even in TNA, Dixie Carter last year, that was just awful, and I think the Authority storyline has run its course as well. For my prediction, I got Sting. I got Sting going over. Everyone says, Triple H is a selfish guy and doesn't put people over at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. There are some cases where that might be true. But, last year he put over Daniel Bryan, put over Taker. So I think at the end of his career, he knows, it's kind of tacky, but he knows what's best for business. And I could see him putting over Sting. And I want Sting to win. So I don't think it's going to be a 5-star classic. I don't think it's going to be this incredible match, but it'll be entertaining. 20 minutes or whatever. And I think it has the opportunity to be not a great match, but an entertaining, fun match to watch. And one more thing I wanted to ask you guys: do you think that this match has the especially the way the crowd reacted last night to the final segment, do you think that this match could close the show, or do you think it's definitely going to be Lesnar Reigns?
Because someone asked that a couple weeks ago, I completely threw it out the window because I feel like there was no question about they were going to close the show with the title match. And at this point, the chances of it main eventing have increased, but I feel like still, regardless of the reaction to the main event, especially with Lesnar resigning now and with it being more unpredictable, they need to close with the championship match because something big is going to happen either way. If Reigns wins, he gets his big title win. And if Lesnar wins, then it's a big shock. We go off the air on that. If Rollins cashes in, a great way to close out the show.
If either of them win too, if Reigns or Lesnar wins, he can still cash in. So
exactly, that's exactly it. So any one of those options, I feel like, are a great way to go off the show. And if this match goes off the show, then Sting's going to win, even though it's already kind of obvious. I feel like the chances are there that it could happen, but I don't see it happening. RJ, can you see this match headlining WrestleMania?
I don't want it to, and I don't see it. I think the title match should be the main event.
What about you, Arden? You feel like this Sting versus Triple H match could close out WrestleMania?
Has to be the title match, man. I think it's basically always been that way at Mania, and it has to remain that way. And I think the WWE would be silly to change it, even with the popularity of this match. And I think this match will be even better because of the crowd participation. You already know they're going to be in this match, but with Brock's re-signing and now even more uncertainty and more people that are going to want to watch this pay-per-view and that match, don't change a thing.
So that said, I feel like there is a chance that you could have Sting and Triple H not have the greatest in-ring classic, like a Matt classic in the ring, but similar to WrestleMania 18, they have this great icon versus icon match. They blow away the crowd, and then the main event sucks. Like, Triple H versus Jericho wasn't terrible, but it was nowhere near as good as Hogan versus Rock from that night. So I could see something similar along those lines happening. But no, I don't really feel like it could close the show. I feel like it has to be the title match, especially after Lesnar resigned, just today. So, Mike, I'll ask you again, who do you feel like is going to go over in this match? Who do you got, Sting or Triple H?
Keep choking on popcorn, damn you. I got Sting, and I think that will. You might have mentioned it before. I wasn't really paying too much attention, but I think Sting wins, Taker wins, and you have WrestleMania 32. They both coming off big wins, and got Sting winning.
There you go. Hashtag book it. Arden, you're up next. What do you got for Sting versus Triple H?
Gotta have Sting, man. Gotta complete all this that's been built, going back to Survivor Series for him interfering in that match. And I have to give credit to WWE. I'm also critical of them. I think all of us are. But every time they have brought out Sting, it felt as if they brought him out at the right time. It felt like it was perfect. The crowd got behind it, and we all enjoyed it. But you gotta have Sting, man. Go ahead and get that revenge, not only for himself, but for WCW, so we can move on with what is the very likely match between him and Taker next year.
With Sting winning here, I feel like it's going to be a big moment, and if Triple H was to win, I don't feel like it would put heat on Triple H in that, because Sting's not going to get his win back. Neither of these guys are regular competitors. Sting won't wrestle likely until WrestleMania next year, if ever again. This might be his one and only match. I feel like that won't be the case. I feel like from the way that we've been seeing him, I feel like we will get another match out of him next year, WrestleMania. But I don't know. I feel like it would be a flat moment if Triple H won. It wouldn't be like, he sucks. I feel like, that was disappointing. But I feel like the match could be good though. And RJ, before you give your prediction, it is worth noting that Triple H has not won a match since WrestleMania 29 2 years ago when he beat Brock Lesnar. So just keep that in mind with your prediction. But who do you got?
I'm going against the fence. I got Triple H on this one.
The game.
I got the game in this one. I think they've had Sting go over Triple H for the last 6 months. I think Triple H is going to use revenge. I want to see... I'm not as big of a Sting fan as everyone else. He is what he is. He's kind of like Hogan to me. I could give two shits. But I think Triple H will go over on this one. Then maybe Undertaker the next night, if he loses too, is like, I'm going to retire. Sting goes, I have one more match. I want one more match. I want against you. Mm-hmm. And then they do that retirement match for both of them next year at WrestleMania. Win or lose, I think that would be well for both of them. I think Sting would win, but what would that benefit? Like, he beat Triple H. I think the story of him beating WWE would make more sense if he's beating Undertaker than beating Triple H. Making Triple H seem like... The story they're telling is making Triple H like... I
totally agree with you.
The story they're telling with Triple H is that he pretty much slept his way to the top. Pretty much saying that he got everything given to him. It's how they're saying that Triple H was... He's been given everything his career. They're kind of doing what he was saying when he taught the Taker in his DVD. Like, people are going to think different of you because, like, you married Stephanie McMahon. I feel like that's what they're doing in this. Like, yeah. Sting, like, you're handed everything like you are, but like if they're trying to do this big WWE WCW thing, Triple H wasn't as big as Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock. I think they have to do that against Undertaker. And I think this whole Triple H build is based off of Sting, like, mad that he's the authority. Like, I don't really get the story that him getting translated into Triple H. I think the story is kind of mixed up in that. I think they could have done it with Undertaker. I think Triple H would make sense going over. Like I said, then like he killed WCW, and they can just get rid of WCW. They need to just kill talking about it because it's been over for 15 years at this point. They need to stop talking about it. And I think and
I totally I agree with you. Like, it was driving me nuts when they were kind of going down that Triple H is the WWF like WWE, and it's like Triple H wasn't even like maybe in the top 5. Like, I would not describe, and Arden's been talking about, the Attitude Era, the late 90s, early 2000s, and like Triple H, I remember hating him, which, he was a great heel then, but you think that era, you don't think, the first thing that comes to mind is not Triple H.
I think the first thing you think of Ruthless Aggression era is Triple H, the heel Triple H. I don't think I don't think he was the head of like the WCW, WWE. I think they're kind of screwed that story up, and they kind of like oh, Triple H is the only guy we have left, and we're saving Undertaker, so, yep, it's Triple H, top of WWE.
Yeah.
I just think it's stupid how they kind of try and say, like, Triple H, like, he was given everything, even though he wasn't. I don't know. I think it's just a dumb story, but I got Triple H. I'm going with all the heels right now.
Well, here's my prediction for this, and you just mentioned this. I think it's great because we've been saying for weeks the story behind this is dumb. Thankfully, they dropped it on Monday. That's why I thought that segment was so good. Do you think the story would have been better from the start? I've been enjoying it since Survivor Series, but do you feel like they could have gone in the direction instead with Triple H or Sting saying that WCW was killed by management? Because granted, with Russo and Hogan, people taking over WCW, yes, WWF played a significant role in defeating WCW, but at the end of the day, it was management that killed WCW. Do you feel like Sting coming in and saying, management killed my company, now you're going to kill the WWE as the authority, I'm going to stop you from doing that, and that's why I cost you your job at Survivor Series? Do you feel like that would have been a better story to tell?
I think it would be a better story to tell, but I think Triple H is doing better for the company than it is now. So I think,
I mean,
like a storyline standpoint, I think that would make more sense. But then he came back a month later, so it didn't really matter. But I think that story would be better than the one they're portraying right now.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, though, you got Triple H.
I got Triple H.
I got Sting. Mike, your final prediction for this matchup?
I said Sting, but RJ brought up a great point that Triple H hasn't gotten the upper hand at all.
He looked like a pussy. Pardon my language, he looked like a pussy this whole feud.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna say Sting just because I don't know what Triple H has to gain off of a win, and it's Sting's first match, and it's really anticipated his first time in the WWE ring, first match, so I got Sting, but it is kind of surprising that they didn't let Triple H get the upper hand at all. Kind of reminds me of Lesnar Taker last year, where Lesnar didn't get the upper hand, I don't think at all, maybe until the last Raw, and everyone was thinking, everybody was thinking, Lesnar doesn't have a shot, blah blah blah, and he came from out of nowhere and beat the streak. So it's surprising that they didn't have him get the upper hand at all, but I got Sting. Tried to put my money on it.
From a storyline standpoint, it makes sense that Triple H would go over. But, like Mike just said, I feel like it's because it's Sting's first match. Triple H does not have anything to gain from this. He's still Triple H. He's still, one of the greats. And then Triple H does not have an obvious feud from here. It's not like he beats Sting and then he, puts over Dolph Ziggler at Survivor or at SummerSlam. I feel like they might. I have no idea. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. They're not building this up to a bigger, a bigger picture here. So that's why I feel like Sting will go over. And with Sting, I mean, here's the thing that would not shock me. I will say this much. It would not shock me if Triple H won. Because like we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, Brock Lesnar comes back, this House of Fire, first match back in 10 years, and he loses to John Cena. It would not surprise me if they had Sting lose his first match in the WWE to Triple H. I'm not saying that's an ego thing on Triple H's part. It's just the booking. I feel like the creative team might have him lose. But at the end of the day, though, my pick is still remaining with Sting. Arden, who's your final pick for this matchup? Sting.
Also, I think this could be interesting. Maybe, I know he's not the thing, but I think they could have Triple H win, Lesnar wins too, and Rollins tries to cash in and fails. So then Triple H tries to step in and try to gain the title back for the authority and face Lesnar again.
You want to do that?
I don't want to know if I want to see it, but I can say Lesnar says F you to the authority because Lesnar's not about the authority. Rollins tries to cash in and it fails, and then Triple H has to step up for the authority and win the belt, and he goes against Lesnar.
I could see that happening.
SummerSlam, book it right now.
SummerSlam 2012, 3 years later.
Yeah.
Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. Not necessarily something I want to see, but I could see it happening. I mean, this is WWE after all. They, completely butcher a lot of their storylines, so it would not surprise me in the slightest. But, that being said, we get to the main event between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And also, we'll get to Seth Rollins cashing in, so do not mention that just yet. We'll get to that at the end of this prediction panel. So, kicking it off, RJ, I'll start with you. Brock Lesnar, the newly re-signed Brock Lesnar, I'll say that, versus the not-so-ready for main event scene, Roman Reigns. What do you got?
I think the money's in Lesnar. I got to go with Lesnar. I think even if Lesnar wins, it won't hurt Reigns. Reigns won't be hurt anyways. People, if he lost to Lesnar, it looked like he'd lose strong in defeat. Lesnar's the beast. He's not going to win, and it'd still look good if he put on a fight and lost to Lesnar. I think Lesnar winning would make way more sense. And then even if, like, Seth Rollins does cash in, we're going to say that later, but, like, maybe have Reigns screw Lesnar after the match and Rollins cash it in, then they can have that feud. And then maybe Reigns gets over at SummerSlam, or Reigns gets over down the line. I just don't think you could sell a pay-per-view right now with Roman Reigns at the top of the WWE, because who's he going to wrestle against? What heel would he wrestle against? He's going to go over as a face. They're pushing him as a big baby face. I think Lesnar, now that he's resigned, I think Lesnar's going to win. I think he may lose to Rollins in a cash-in, but it would have to be some kind of, some kind of, like, dirty loss. Like, he's not going to lose, like, clean. Someone's going to have to interfere, and he's going to lose it. I think the money's in Lesnar winning it. And I think him losing, it'd be like, what's the point? I guess the streak would make a point, but I think people would be like, well, Reigns isn't even ready, and no one wants to see Reigns champion, so it wouldn't even matter. I think the money's down the line with Reigns winning the title down the line. I don't think he's improved that much over the last couple months. I don't hate that he won. It's obviously manager's fault. I don't think it's his fault. Like, if someone said, hey, you're going to win the WWE Championship, I'd be like, let's go.
Exactly.
Like, I don't give a shit if no one thinks I'm ready, but I think Lesnar re-signing, I think he has to win. Even if he drops the belt, I think they can continue this Reigns feud, and I think it's better for business.
I think, like you said, it's not more so that people wouldn't care if he was champion. He's just not ready. And I think that was more evident than ever last night on Raw. He didn't say anything, but the ending to Raw, and we'll get into this right now because we were going to talk about it before. Your thoughts in the final segment of Raw?
Terrible.
Absolutely
terrible.
I
was like, what the hell? They just went off the air. I thought like someone's going to hit him with a belt or like some kind. They haven't had any physical contact in this whole feud.
Which is fine.
It's
but the
fine,
way,
but
the
last
way it was
night they should have had something.
The execution of it was very, very poor.
They should have maybe get Superman punch or like F5 something. You can't have these two guys, especially Lesnar. He looked like holding a title.
Yeah.
He looked like a little baby. It was stupid.
On your final Raw before
the final
WrestleMania.
Raw, and it ended like so unclimactic. Like they just like. And like they showed like the stupid trademark thing and it just went off the air. Everyone's like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah,
I think Lesnar has to.
I'm not trying to be negative here by any means. Like, especially Graham, I know you're all about positivity and TMA, but
you got it, brother.
Quickly, not to cut you off. This has honestly, I'm not trying to be negative at all, but this has been one of the most underwhelming, lackluster roads to WrestleMania that I can remember in a long time.
It's not being negative if you're being truthful. I will say that much, and that's the complete truth. I feel like the road to WrestleMania has not been bad. I mean, I've been more excited because I don't know. I'm just excited for WrestleMania, as you are too, RJ. I'm sure, but I feel like I will say that the hype for this matchup has been very, very poor. It's not because the build has been bad, but the only thing carrying this matchup are two things: one, Paul Heyman. And two, the fact that you don't know who might win at this point. With Lesnar's contract status, which has been resolved, but I feel like that's the only thing making me care about this matchup. The fact that, Roman Reigns has been riding this wave of momentum, and Brock Lesnar, he hasn't been doing anything since the Rumble. So that's not his fault, but they're not booking him properly. But the build has been horrendous.
Honestly, and I can understand why they didn't do it, because Lesnar is quote-unquote the heel. And they want Reigns to get as many cheers as possible. But I feel like if Heyman came out last night and said, "My Beast just resigned for 2 more years," the place would have went nuts. If they announced that he signed last night, but like I said, I don't think they would do that just because he's not supposed to get cheered. But even so, I think that because it came out that he resigned, he might get cheered on Sunday even more.
I think he'd get cheered over Reigns anyways.
Yeah.
I think he's like the badass guy that everyone wants to see win. I think even if he's a dick and I love the guy, but I think anyone from casual fan that guy kicks ass. He's the stone cold badass. Even though he's supposed to be the guy you hate, you love him.
It's not Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar in that both guys are leaving. Roman Reigns is staying, but even then people know he's not ready. And with Brock Lesnar, it's not like, oh, there's still so much left to do. And technically there is, but people recognize he's going to go to UFC. We saw this coming.
Yeah.
Back in 2004, it was a little bit different when you're like, oh, you screw this guy, you're supposed to be a top guy, and you don't want to travel, all this other BS. And that's not the issue here. People still would have cheered Brock over Roman because they want to see him, stay with the WWE. That's why they want to see him win. So that's why they would have cheered him regardless. But it's not even like they're hiding from that fact either. He mentioned that in the interview. I looked on WWE.com, and they announced it too, that they are sticking together. That Brock Lesnar is staying with the WWE, sticking with them. So they're not shying away from that whatsoever. But I do agree that the build has been very, very lackluster, and I'm very excited for it, if only for the fact that Paul Heyman will be at ringside for his first WrestleMania main event, I think, ever. I don't think he's been in a WrestleMania main event yet. But I think the match itself could go either way from an in-ring standpoint, but the outcome is definitely going to be interesting, to say the least. But, Mike, who was your final pick? Or did we not ask you yet? I think you just jumped in, right?
Yeah, I just kind of butted in there.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, a couple of things about this match. I know we have like 5 minutes left or whatever, but what was I about to say? This is why I asked the question before, what match you think goes on last, because I honestly, and I want to see, if I was there, I'd be cheering for Brock Lesnar. I think the majority of the crowd is going to cheer for Lesnar. But if this goes on last, it's really, if I'm Vince McMahon, I'm trying to think of myself like, kind of got to gauge the crowd, because 95% of WrestleManias end on a happy note, on a good note, has a good feel-good ending. Last year with Daniel Bryan, it's usually the heel does not win.
Mm-hmm.
In this match, they won. You can tell the company wants Reigns to go over, but if that's the last match on the show, I don't know if that's going to get a great reaction, especially like I said about an hour ago. But I personally, I don't think, unless my TV was messed up, I think that Reigns was significantly outbooed over Lesnar. It's kind of a weird way to describe it, but I heard more boos than cheers when Reigns came out, especially when he ripped the title away from him. That place was for sure booing him. Which, he just talked about it, but that was such a horrendous ending of, I think RJ said, just standing there watching my TV, and I'm just like, what the hell was that? Like, literally just went off the air, just so weird. Like, it made both guys look weak, and you just like 2 5-year-olds in the sandbox, like, just fighting over, like, a piece of gum or something. It was just so weird. Like, Brock Lesnar is not going to let any... After Heyman literally talked about how much he loves that title and how it's personal to him and blah, blah, blah. And then Reigns just, like, grabs it from him, like, makes Lesnar look weak as hell, just not, like, laying him out. Even though I do agree, one of you guys said it, I do agree that no contact, I kind of like that. It's kind of like a UFC type of feel to it. No physical contact before the match. I'm down with that. I have no problem with that. But it was such a bad ending of Raw last night, and the build has been lackluster. I'm hoping that Lesnar can, because Reigns is not ready to carry the match. As they had a good match last month, but he was with Daniel Bryan. So I feel like usually Lesnar's the one who doesn't have to be carried, but I feel like he is the one in a match that he needs not someone to carry him, but someone to kind of lead him. Like Punk in SummerSlam. Just kind of thinking about his best matches, Kurt Angle, way back when, his best matches, he was in there with somebody, besides maybe Cena, he was always in there with someone that would lead him. So I'm interested to see how it goes, and if he can lead the match and make it a memorable match with Reigns, because Reigns is definitely not going to be the one, calling the shot.
And that's another thing, too, because we thought a couple weeks ago that Reigns, or Lesnar, excuse me, at the end of his run, he's leaving, so he's like, I don't give 2 craps, I'm not going to put any effort into this matchup, much like his matchup with Goldberg. But I feel like with this match, now that he's been re-signed, that we can get him, we can get that matchup, or the match can be really, really good, because he's going to care because he's re-signed with the company. You know what I mean?
The thing is, I think, like, last year, I think you could consider, like, you would consider Lesnar would kind of carry the match that they had last year, because Undertaker was a 50-year-old man that was like dead on the ground, and he was like picking him up and doing all that stuff with him. So I think Lesnar can carry this match and lead it. I just think maybe I don't know what
Our call has been forwarded.
I don't know what you'd call it as, but I think Lesnar has to win this match. I don't even think it's that Reigns isn't ready necessarily, because I think the title would put heat on him and make him more ready. I just think him winning, there's less faces for him to wrestle against.
No, I absolutely agree. I feel like with Lesnar winning, that we can get that anything can happen feel. It's going to make me more excited for the next night's Raw. You know what I mean? I feel like with that, we can get that, like, oh, what's going to happen next? If Reigns wins, I will still look forward to Raw. Like, you know, I won't be pissed if Reigns wins because we all saw it coming. But I feel like if Lesnar wins, we'll get that unpredictable feel, and it'll be like, you know, anything can happen. So I'm looking forward to it for that respect alone. But with Lesnar and Reigns, though, I still feel like Lesnar, for one thing, I've seen some people say he should be a champion for the next year. I don't know about that. I don't know if he's going to hold the belt for another year.
I would say Lesnar could be champion for another year.
You feel like, really?
If he works every pay-per-view.
Oh, okay. That I could see. But I feel like if he's working the same,
I think he's going to work a little bit more than he has been.
Hopefully.
I think they said like he was going to work more.
You think so? In that interview with ESPN?
Coachman said it, so I think he said he's going to work a little bit more.
Hopefully. That'd be pretty sweet. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think considerably part-time would be not every day. So
yeah.
He's not going to work.
No,
he's
not going
to work house shows.
No, but every pay-per-view or most pay-per-views, more than 2 or 3, would be ideal. So I would be looking forward to that. But Arden, what is your official pick for Lesnar versus Roman Reigns?
This is another one where I've been thinking about it for quite some time. And after hearing you guys speak, you guys have led me in this direction, and I'm sticking with it. And I would like to say thank you for helping me get to this decision. Thinking about the crowd, thinking about the resigning, I have decided that I want Roman Reigns to win the WWE Championship, but I want him to win it in a way that will cause some controversy and something that will take it back to a decade ago, in which, yes, Roman Reigns wins the championship, but with the help of Paul Heyman. I think it will be a great tie-in at the end. I think it will make sense concerning how, unlike other Brock Lesnar opponents, Paul Heyman at times has been very complimentary of Roman Reigns. And I think it's something to play off to the fact that WWE needs to understand that Roman Reigns is not 100% complete babyface. He is somebody that is a mixture. He is, quote-unquote, a badass. And I think if you paired him with, Paul Heyman, considering the fact that the people are already going to be behind Brock Lesnar, and yet Brock Lesnar's image won't be changed to a complete babyface, I think that will make for one stellar WrestleMania ending. So count me in for Roman Reigns winning the championship in a very unlikely scenario that Paul Heyman helps him win the championship. I would love that term.
I like that. I like that, what you're saying, Arden. But what I want to go back on, I think it was 2 weeks on Raw, Paul Heyman himself said, if Brock Lesnar is screwed at WrestleMania, whoever screws him...
permitted for recording your message.
If
you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
That was, believe Mike, I think his phone killed on us. I called him back, and we're leaving a message.
If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2.
Okay, we're satisfied with the message, so shut the fuck up.
Send your message with normal
shut
delivery,
the one sec. We gotta just
your
delete this and
delivery,
all this other
2.
shit. Okay, sorry about that. We got Mike off the... Well, Mike wasn't on the line. I think he hung up or his phone died.
All right, so back to what I was saying. I think... A couple weeks ago, Paul Heyman, even himself, said, if any way Brock Lesnar is screwed out of this title, whoever does it to him will not walk out of this building alive. He even said that if authority screwed him over, whoever it was, he was going to kick their ass. So I like the thing of Heyman maybe screwing him over, but then Lesnar wouldn't just walk out of the ring and be like, okay, I lost to WrestleMania. He'd freaking freak out. I think this is how they could set up Seth Rollins. If they screw him over with Heyman, Lesnar freaks out, beats the living shit out of Reigns. Heyman's running up the ramp, and what's Lesnar gonna do? Chase right after him. Who's coming through, running through the crowd? Seth Rollins with the briefcase. He jumps over the ring. They have Triple H or someone else, and whoever's the referee, they ring the bell, curb stomp, he wins, people go nuts.
I actually love that scenario right there. I love the Roman Reigns. Now, heel turn, yeah, I could see that. I could see them turning Roman heel. Actually, that would be like a triple turn? Would that be a triple turn? What the hell is a triple turn?
It'd be a triple turn.
The first time in WrestleMania.
Because the crowd would be so pissed that Reigns won.
Yeah, and Lesnar lost.
Lesnar lost. So then everyone would be like, all right, there's Lesnar chasing off Heyman. and then people would freaking shit their pants if Dan hit off, and you saw Rollins running through the crowd, jumping like the Shield, running through the crowd, curb stomp, pin, new champion, and it would be a happy note because the crowd would be electric.
Looking forward to Raw. What is Lesnar's response to Paul Heyman? Paul Heyman enlists a new client to, challenge Brock Lesnar. Who is it going to be? Fucking Samoa Joe, people. Listen to that. Samoa Joe versus Brock fucking Lesnar at SummerSlam. I would love to see that. It's not going to happen the night after WrestleMania because he's not going to be there. Because he's not signing for another couple months. But
I like his idea of the turn on Heyman. But like I said, I can have
an extra twist on it.
The double turn, because then you'd freak out on Reigns and beat the shit out of Reigns, then chase after Heyman, and then everyone's like, what happens now? And then Rollins comes through the crowd, because they'd run up like the ramp.
Yes.
And it would make so much sense. It would be amazing.
Yeah, now you're getting my hopes up, because we know we're not going to see
now
that.
I'll be like in my room, like, come on!
No. I'm not going to say that Roman winning is not going to happen, because he's not
Exactly.
ready.
I'm not saying it's out of the ordinary, like, I don't hate Roman Reigns. I just hate the way he's booked. I don't
agreed.
I'm not gonna cry if he loses it or wins.
Yeah.
But I think it would make more sense if he does win. He would have to lose it, or Brock would have to retain.
Yes, absolutely agreed. I feel like with this matchup, it's not like I'm gonna say Roman isn't ready, so therefore he's not winning. What happened at the Royal Rumble? We thought he wasn't gonna win because he's not ready. Daniel Bryan was the perfect person to win. And he won in the most anticlimactic fashion ever with The Rock and Rusev and Big Show Kane. Horrendous fashion. One of the worst pay-per-view endings I've seen in quite some time. Arden and I talked about that on the show a couple months ago. So that being said, I feel like Roman winning is absolutely not out of the ordinary. And that's why I feel like he's going to win clean 1, 2, 3. And that's it. And they expect him, people to cheer him because they're just, delusional like that. Vince thinks, if we put the belt on him, then they'll cheer him. You know what I mean? Actually, here's Mike right now. Let's see if we can get him. Hold and accept. Let's see if we can get Mike. Hey, Mike, you there?
Yo.
What's up?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Let's merge Arden in here. Okay, I think we got the fatal 4-way back in here. Arden, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you guys still on?
Yeah, we're still on. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was in the middle of a big rant before, and then
just cut out.
My phone died.
I think I called you back, and we left you a 2-minute voicemail. So if you want to listen to our prediction of Roman Reigns versus Lesnar, it's in your voicemail. But basically what I was saying before, I feel like it's not out of the ordinary. I feel like my prediction is Roman Reigns wins, clean 1, 2, 3, no heel turn, go off the show with that. Do I want to see that? Absolutely not. I'm not going to cry like RJ said, because I know it's going to happen. But I love you guys' scenarios with Reigns going heel and joining with Heyman, or like you said, Lesnar turning babyface, going after Heyman, and Heyman screws over Lesnar, and Roman goes heel, and Rollins cashes in. That would be an amazing way to close off the show.
Mike, I'll just catch you up with what we said. Arden says he thinks Roman's going to win because Heyman's going to screw Lesnar. Yep. I think Lesnar's going to win, but off his idea of Heyman screwing Lesnar, I'd have... Because, 2 weeks ago on Raw, Heyman said that whoever screws Lesnar is not going to walk out of the building alive. So my scenario was, if that happened, he'd beat the shit out of Reigns, then chase Heyman up the ramp, and then out of nowhere you'd hear Rollins' music hit, and him running through the crowd with the briefcase and cashing it in, and Reigns would be, knocked out after... Lesnar beat his ass and went to go chase after Heyman, and then he hits him with the curb stomp, 1, 2, 3. Crowd freaking shits their pants because they were so mad Reigns won, and then Rollins comes in and cashes in the day. They end with their happy ending because the crowd loved how Reigns lost the belt, and that's how you end WrestleMania.
Hashtag
book it.
Book it. I would love to see it. But like we said before, I think you missed this part too, but I was just saying that because RJ just said that, I'm getting my hopes up now, and now I'm going to be 10 times more disappointed because it's not going to happen. I'm sure Reigns will win clean 1, 2, 3. But that's my final prediction. So RJ.
I got Lesnar.
You got Lesnar. I have Roman Reigns. Arden, who do you got?
I'm sticking with my Reigns Heyman. I'm going through with it.
You're WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And Mike, you got 2 for Lesnar, 1 for Lesnar, 2 for Reigns. Who do you got?
It's tough, man, especially after what happened today. I got, I'm going to have to go with the reigning, defending WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Brock Lesnar.
Sounds good to me. You got 2 for Lesnar, 2 for Reigns.
So
but I think
the next question is, who sees Rollins cashing in and when?
you go first.
I think he'll cash in on WrestleMania.
I got next night on Raw. Arden, who do you got? Or how do you see Rollins cashing in?
Oh, for me?
Yeah, when do you see it happening, and how can you see it happening?
Truth be told, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. It's something that I'm thinking about, but I don't know. I'll say this, though. I think it's very likely that we'll see Rollins cash in sooner on Reigns than Lesnar.
Okay. Take that, write that down, mark his words. And then, Mike, who is your prediction for Seth Rollins? How do you see him cashing in, and when?
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like I said, I've been thinking about him cashing in and when he's going to for, like, ever since August. I honestly, I have no idea. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger at WrestleMania. If they do, it'll be on Lesnar, not on Reigns. Lesnar will win, and then he'll cash in on Lesnar. I just don't think they're going to ruin. They're not going to ruin Reigns' big moment. Or maybe maybe that's their backup plan. Maybe they're going to see how the crowd goes. If the crowd cheers, they'll just go off with the show. If they're booing them, cue Seth Rollins' music. Maybe they have a backup plan, something like that. I honestly have no idea. I could see it happening on Raw, but I'm with Arden. I just don't have any idea when they're going to pull the trigger.
I think it'd be interesting if they did have Lesnar win and Rollins cash in on Lesnar. Because they've been going to the story that Rollins brought Lesnar to the limit. He broke his ribs. He should have beat Lesnar at Royal Rumble, which we all thought was happening. I thought myself he was about to curb stomp him into the briefcase and he was going to win. I could see him cashing in at WrestleMania on either one of them. Him winning. They've had this cashed in. They've been talking about how they could have up to a year, and it used to be always WrestleMania. No one even came close to cashing in at WrestleMania.
For 10
years. And I think Lesnar the next night, he comes out on Raw. He's looking for Rollins, killing Kane and Big Show, and going through all the jobbers. And then Triple H goes, you need to stop. We'll give you your match at Extreme Rules. Rollins beats him at Extreme Rules dirty. So then they think he's gone. Rollins has a little feud with a couple other people. At SummerSlam, Rollins versus Lesnar again. Lesnar gets his revenge on Rollins and wins.
They still have the unfinished business there for him.
Exactly. They still have that unfinished business with Rollins.
And the next night, remember?
Next night.
Rollins was like, I'm not leaving this seat. And Brock Lesnar walked up. He's like, okay, now remember that?
And he technically never got his revenge on Lesnar, on him getting curb stomped by...
Because he knows he has the briefcase so he can cash it in on the winner of that main event.
Exactly. Like I said, and I'm pretty sure the last time they had contact, it was when Rollins curb stomped him on Raw. I believe he curb stomped him and Cena on Raw.
Oh, you mean before the Royal Rumble, of course. Okay, you mean aside from the Rumble.
Yes, beside the Rumble, that's the only contact they've had. And then he beat him at Royal Rumble, but he technically broke his ribs and did... they've been playing that... They played that story after...
Either,
Yes. And they played that story after Royal Rumble, how he put Lesnar out of action. That's why he's not Fastlane.
Yep.
I think Seth Rollins versus Lesnar's in the cards for the future.
I think that would be an amazing feud. I do like that Lesnar's working more with young guys now. Rollins at Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, so hopefully we see more of that coming out of WrestleMania. But either way, like I said, still got Reigns, but I will say, new WWE World Heavyweight Champion crowned by the end of the night. No doubt, no matter who it is, even though I got Reigns, new champion will be crowned. So that's it. WrestleMania 31 predictions are in the books, people. A 2-hour spectacular. It's been phenomenal. But before we wrap it up here, final thoughts on the WrestleMania card. Arden, I will start with you. What are your thoughts on WrestleMania come this Sunday? Are you pumped?
Well, I am pumped for it. I'm excited for it. And in terms of the card, it's a card that can either let you down or be one that is memorable for the right reasons.
I absolutely agree. I feel like we've been saying this forever, but it can be either really, really good or really, really bad. But that being said, I'm still excited for it, and I feel like if it can be booked right, that's the key. If booked right, like you said, for all the right reasons, it could be memorable. Then I think it could be a great show. But what is the one match that you are most looking forward to on Sunday?
Oh man, I probably will say it's probably the cliche answer, but it has to be Lesnar Reigns. It has to be Lesnar Reigns, just, again, because of the crowd reaction and to see the execution of the match from the beginning to the middle to the finish. So it's definitely that one. And for second place, it also Taker Wyatt. So there's definitely those two, with Lesnar Reigns being number one.
All these matches on the card have got me pumped. I think every match has, in its own way, is exciting, and I'll give my match as to what I'm excited for in just a minute. But Mike, your final thoughts on the WrestleMania card and the one match that you're looking forward to the most, more than anything else on the card?
Yeah, you guys nailed it. I honestly, the build, like we talked about, has been really underwhelming. You know, the build is in the past, though. The build's done with. It is what it is. It will go into the books as just a horrible road to WrestleMania. But looking at the card, I honestly think that has the potential to be a top 10 Mania or a bottom 8 Mania. I don't think that there's really anything in between. It's going to be great or it's going to suck. A lot of these matches have the potential to steal the show, so to speak. But I don't think there's any middle ground. I think it's going to be a great Mania. I'm excited for it, not, through the roof pumped about it, but definitely excited for it. And I think that it will be I think personally it will be that top 10 Mania. I think everyone's going to step their game up, and I think it's going to be a good Mania. My most anticipated match is probably the Intercontinental ladder match. I think that you got 4, 5, 6 guys in that match that can just go, and if you give them 20 minutes, even 15, Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon didn't have a ton of time. They had 15 minutes at most. They had one of the most memorable ladder matches ever. Give these guys 20 minutes, and I think that they could put on a show-stealing performance. You can, in the PG era, you can't do too much, but it's not going to compete with the TLC match. But I think it could be one of the most memorable ladder matches ever. So I'm really excited for that. And I'm more, maybe not excited for Reigns Lesnar, more curious to see how it all plays out. So those are my top two.
With the ladder match, I'm kind of going off on that real quick. I think just like we saw with Ziggler and Harper at TLC, they can and are capable of having that great ladder match. And with so many people involved, with so many great workers, I feel like it can be memorable for all the right reasons. If it's not a complete clusterfuck, they can create a great match, and I'm very much looking forward to. But RJ, I move on to you. What are your final thoughts on the WrestleMania card, and what one match are you most looking forward to?
I think, like everyone said, I think this WrestleMania has the potential to be one of the best. I don't think the best. I think that's safe for WrestleMania 30 for me. I was there. Probably the best experience I've ever had at any event. I think that nothing can trump that. But I think this has potential to be really, really good, and like you said, really bad. I think it could have in between, like some of the marquee matches maybe flop, and then some of them are better than expected. Mm-hmm. I think like Triple H and Sting could be bad. The Wyatt and Undertaker could be bad, and like maybe Rusev and Cena better than people expect, and same with Rollins and Reigns and Lesnar. But I think the one match I'm looking forward to the most is one that no one said. I would have to go with Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. I would probably say this is probably my most forward match because it contains the future of the WWE, one of my favorite wrestlers now, Seth Rollins, and the future when I was a kid growing up watching wrestling, Randy Orton. So seeing like my 10 years ago, like my hero, Randy Orton, who's like the future then, going against one of my favorite now, Seth Rollins, would be a hell of a match. I think they could put down probably one of the best matches of the night. And then secondly, I'd probably say it'd be a tie between Wyatt, Undertaker, and Reigns and Lesnar.
You said it yourself. I feel like Orton or Rollins is like the Orton of what Orton was to Evolution is what Rollins is to the Authority. That's kind of what the comparison is there. I'm looking forward to that match. I feel like I said before, the most anticipated match for me, not from an in-ring standpoint, but from a storytelling standpoint, Sting versus Triple H. Sting's first WWE match is going to be something special. I'm looking forward to the entrances of Triple H. It's got the Arnold Schwarzenegger entrance or something like that. That's going to be sweet, so I'm looking forward to that. And Lesnar Reigns, to see what happens there. I feel like all those matches could be really, really good. Orton Rollins is going to be the wrestling match of the night if done right. So all those matches are shaping up to be great. With that being said, that's going to wrap up the WrestleMania Roundtable for WrestleMania 31 2015. It's been an epic show from start to finish. A lot of great, bold predictions that nobody saw coming, and a great way to go into WrestleMania on Sunday. But of course, before we go off the air, Arden, I will start with you. Thank you so much, brother, for joining us here on the show. It's been great. But before we let you go, make sure to plug your show, Facebook, Twitter, and where the people can find you.
Thanks once again, Matt, for having me on the show. It's always fun. And for those that want all of my information, all you have to do is follow me on Twitter at Arden Sports Talk, ARDEN, Sports Then Talk. And then from there, I usually post everything that I do on a regular basis on there. So follow me on there, and you get the rest of my information, man. Thank you once again.
No problem, man. Enjoy WrestleMania. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Later, man. Enjoy WrestleMania, guys.
You too, Arden.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right. All right.
And Mike, now we go to you, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a great time to have you on the show. We had you on last year for the WrestleMania Roundtable, probably next year as well, for the next 20, 30 years if the show is still going into 2050. But always a great time to have you on, brother. But before we let you go, plug your new blog. That's always great as well, your Twitter, Facebook, and where the people of the wrestling world can tweet you at and find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. Like you said, I started doing this last year, and I hope we do this for 10, 20 years. Honestly, it's a great time, and it's amazing just to see, how many, even Arden's one of them, your podcast, your writing, your Twitter handle brings people together. It's amazing how many, I've met RJ, well, not actually me, but, me and RJ talked because of you. Arden, me and him now will talk because of you. So it's I want to thank you for that, giving me the opportunity to come on here, say my views and all that stuff. The new blog, you can catch it on the Twitter handle at THK Sports, or go on the website, which is hitting HITTING .jimdo JIMDO.com. It's just a blog about sports, and I'm basically focusing on WWE/UFC stuff. So excited for that. Have some fun with it, and maybe one day, hopefully, I can have my own podcast and get you guys on there. But as always great time to talk to fellow Endicott individuals, fellow goals.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you guys a lot. Have a great Easter, and have a great Mania.
You too, man. Like I said, brother, always a pleasure to have you on. So great to talk to you. So great to know you. It was great meeting you in person at Raw, one of the best Raws in recent history.
Man, that was a great time.
Dude, I went back after I talked to Jericho last week. I watched the return on. I took a video of it, and I kept on watching. It keeps on giving me chills of when he came back that night. Such an amazing moment. But yeah, great Raw.
You got that punk shirt I gave you?
Yes, I do, brother. I actually have it here at school. Maybe I'll wear it on Sunday to WrestleMania to RJ's WrestleMania viewing party. But like I said, I got to meet you in person. Hopefully, we can get you up here in the studio at one point. We
gotta do a thing for SummerSlam.
That'd be so great. Yeah, like I said,
SummerSlam. We got
next thing, SummerSlam.
You're gonna be there. Arden, and Mike.
Even if you don't buy tickets, we're gonna smuggle you in, dude. We're gonna smuggle you in, and we're gonna have
SummerSlam. Let's make it happen. I gotta pull out couch. You guys come crash for the weekend. Maybe we'll have like a SummerSlam panel live or something like that. We'll make something happen. But definitely pumped for sure. RJ, hope that I meet you soon.
Yep.
Graham, thank you very much again for having me. And you guys have a great Mania.
You too,
man. We'll talk to you soon. Catch you down the road, brother.
All right, bro. I'll see you.
And of course, RJ, we come to you, WrestleMania 31 on Sunday, baby. 5 days away.
I can't wait.
And you're the host of the WrestleMania 31 viewing party. Everyone directed to RJ's place. If you want to watch WrestleMania 31.
Come to Endicott College at 376 Hale Street. Come to Marblehead Dorm at room 109. You are all welcome. We'll pack as many kids as we can.
We're watching the WWE Network for only $9.99. We're watching a what system? What do you have?
I got Xbox One.
Xbox One. Nice. HD. Hopefully the feed isn't cut out.
Exactly.
It didn't last year. You were there live.
I was live, so
you didn't have it. Yeah, exactly. You didn't have that issue. But hopefully it shouldn't do that this year. But of course, before we go off the air,
plugs.
The shameless
I got
plugs.
a bunch this week too.
Perfect. I
got Molly, Ben, Big Mac, Cam, Shannon, Graham, Mike, Arden. I don't care. Anyone that's a wrestling fan, shout out to you because this is the best. This is our Christmas right now. I can't wait for WrestleMania. Even if it sucks, I'm still ready for WrestleMania. I don't even care. If you can find me at Twitter, it's at RJ_Marceau.
I thought you changed
I
your
changed
handle. I was having to Raymond, like, where'd he go? And I'm
I
like,
changed
oh,
it to
it's
RJ_Marceau. You can see my blog on there and just tweets about wrestling and stuff like that. I can't wait for WrestleMania. I hope you guys are excited as I am, and let's go, baby.
Like I said before, like we were just talking about SummerSlam. I mean, this is not our final show, but it is before WrestleMania. SummerSlam, you, me, Mike, Arden. I'm going to bring John along with me. We've already got 2 tickets. It's going to be like the 5-pack challenge. Is that 5 people? I think it's 6. No, it's 5 people. 5-pack challenge for SummerSlam in Brooklyn. If you're going to be there, if you're not, too bad. It's going to be a show for the ages. But first and foremost, WrestleMania on Sunday. It's going to be a hell of a show. And I did have a direct a directive to plug this show. It's from pw247.net. They're having a live after show at the C&J Sport Bar right in Santa Clara right after WrestleMania. If you want to check it out, streaming live on PW247 immediately following WrestleMania. My boy Nick, they're having a great show. Him and everyone else, the rest of the gang from PW247. Make sure to check out the show right after WrestleMania. And that's about it. NextAirWrestling.net. None of this .weebly shit. It's out the window. Finally bought the domain. Lost control of it for a while, but I got it back. So that is officially signed, as well as just like Lesnar is signed on the dotted line for WWE for the next few years. But yeah, like I said, WrestleMania 31 on Sunday. Make sure to follow on Twitter at WrestleRant, Facebook at Graham Houston Matthews, at RJ_Marceau for all the WrestleMania tweets live from Endicott College.
Definitely live tweeting during WrestleMania, people. That's
absolutely have to. WrestleMania is going to, Twitter is going to implode during WrestleMania time. It's going to be huge, but I'm very much looking forward to it. But as always, guys, have a great week and enjoy WrestleMania on Sunday. We'll catch you back here live next Tuesday for a 2-hour spectacular, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central Time, live365.com /stations /ECTV 73. Catch you guys then.